Diets that demand extreme amounts of any one type of food can be harmful. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And a new study shows people who quit taking weight loss drugs regain weight back faster than those on traditional diets.
About half of all people who go on GLP-1 drugs like Wegovy or Ozempic stop taking them within the first year, either because of the high cost, side effects like nausea. And now, new research in the British Medical Journal shows when they do that, they return to their original weight within 2 years. That's about 4 times faster than when people follow traditional behavioral weight management programs. Some doctors, though, say even a short-term weight correction could have benefits, and they add more longer-term studies are needed.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Heaviest traffic right now is going to be eastbound to 40 between downtown and the eastern split. That continues to be stop and go. Eastbound 24 past 440. We've got a crash on Charlotte Avenue right next to I-40. And then over on the East Bank, a crash on James Robertson Parkway at I-24. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, kids. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day. I was not here yesterday. More on that coming up in a couple of minutes. Thank you to Cameron Smith for filling in capably for me from 3 until 7 o'clock. I appreciate him. I appreciate you. I beg your indulgence because I bought a house yesterday. And so I was out as a result of that home purchase. Maybe we'll talk about that at some point today, but we've got lots to get into before we get into that. It is Thursday, January 8, 2026. This is an alert to Jackson Williams. I don't pretend young Jackson, action Jackson, reaction Jackson, Y2J, J Willie, truffle butter. I don't pretend that you know who this guy is, but we have a celebrity singer birthday today that I would love it. I would just love it because my mama, my beloved mama, my long passed away mama, loved this singer and she had a beautiful, and I still have it, and I will be reframing it and putting it up in the basement of my newly purchased home, a beautiful velvet Elvis portrait. And I don't pretend that you necessarily know who Elvis Presley is because you're such a young lad.
I've seen the movie. I've been to Graceland.
I've seen that movie. Hey, Ken.
Sorry, I wasn't alive in the
What's
1960s to see him live.
What's up, Weaver? How are you? Ken Weaver's back in there.
Oh, Brother Jackson.
You're a funny dude. I'm just saying
I've done all I can do on my part to experience a little bit of Elvis.
Well, hey, Elvis was, he was the Taylor Swift of his day, I guess.
Woo, well, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I mean, Elvis Presley. You know who the first superstar singer to have a private jet was there, Jackson?
Elvis, I'm assuming?
That would be Elvis Presley, yes. And he got one, and then he immediately needed a bigger one, and so Colonel Tom Parker
spent all his money.
Well, took his first one. They had a contract with Tom Parker. You know how much, Ken, you remember how much Tom Parker got?
I do not remember.
Half.
Good grief.
I mean, it was
terrible,
it was
man.
Awful what Tom Parker did to Elvis Presley. Awful.
Took advantage of a good dude, man.
Yeah, he did. He did. But Elvis, for whatever reason, let him. I mean, I don't know if it was loyalty or whatnot. One way or the other. Point being, anybody want to guess how old Elvis was? He could technically still be alive. Matt might still be alive. Who the hell knows? Might be working at Hardee's.
One of my favorite movies claims he's still alive.
What movie would that be, Ken?
Bubba Hotep.
I still need to see that.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you've recommended that to me several times.
You still got to watch Bad Santa.
I do have to watch Bad Santa. We have to crank back up. We're cranking back up the movie reviews. I'm gonna watch Bad Santa before we crank them back up. I just have to get cable at the house, man, or some sort of television watching ability at the new house, and then we'll figure it out.
Tonight is an excellent night of television.
What is happening tonight there, Jackson?
The Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think I can watch. Is that wrong of me? I don't think I can do it. It just makes my stomach gurgle because we should have beaten those stupid Rebels.
That was a great game.
Shut your pie hole, buddy.
And so then you have...
It was a good game.
Have you ever heard of The Traitors?
The Traitors?
Yes. Reality show.
No, I've not.
It's like a big game of Mafia. Incredible.
Okay.
The Pit on HBO. It's like an ER reboot. And then there's 911 and 911 Nashville back tonight.
Jackson, you know what I love about Jackson, Ken?
What's that?
He is like a 58-year-old woman in a 26-year-old man's body. His taste in TV. Let me tell you, back in the day, you would have watched the stories. You might still.
Actually,
the stories.
On a previous midday show we were on, we watched Young and the Restless every day. I bet you can guess who it was with.
Was it Buck Rising?
Yes.
Buck Rising watches soap operas?
We had soap operas on every day.
Oh, that tracks.
But we couldn't listen to them, obviously. So we would play a game every day guessing what was going on.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, you can probably
It was really funny, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, Belle Kay, Headless Belle, at one time or another would watch some of those soap operas during the middle of the day. It's my understanding they're still, but you know what we've done? We've traded those types of soap operas for better produced soap operas in the evening. That's what 911 is.
Yeah.
I mean, 911, wherever the first one said, or 911 now, it's just a soap opera.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's cool.
Just big old soap opera, Connie Britton's character, hooking up with dudes, half her age.
See, Ken's seen the show. That's a deep plot point, Ken.
Yeah. In the first season of it, just regular 911, man.
Ken is a dedicated viewer back here.
Jackson's
I didn't even remember that happened.
Ken Jackson's just happy to have an ally. Right now.
Yeah, well, Connie Britton's character, man, she was hooking up with Buck. It was a young firefighter.
I don't know. Well, I don't know what we're talking about.
I'll have a full review of everything tomorrow.
Okay, very good. I look forward to that. Well, I'm sure that it's a wonderful night of television watching. I will not be partaking in much of any of that because I have other crap to pack. because we've not we closed on the house. Thank you guys for your
That's way to
kindness.
go. That's way to go, Brother Murphy.
Yeah, we got the place. We're down in Mount Pleasant. I'm going to love it down there. Small town politics, absolutely love it. By the way, can I just tell a quick story? We're getting to the news of the day. Listen, I've got a full-throated monologue on Minneapolis coming up in mere seconds. You're going to want to stay tuned for that.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm not putting up with any of this crap. This is garbage, what's going on in America today, and we're going to talk about it. So, but I've got to say hello and thank you. I'm supposed to do this at 4 o'clock. So, Jackson, will you please produce the program today? Unlike other days, would you mind reminding me at some point after 4 o'clock to say this again? But we met, so we went into the electric office to get the electricity in our name. And apparently I have mentioned that we're going to Mount Pleasant on a couple of occasions on the radio station. And there were 3 lovely ladies behind the glass at the electric company, the Mount Pleasant Electric. And one of them, I could tell, had an advanced interest in my entry into the little lobby area. She had more of an interest. You could tell. And so I strike up a conversation with one of the ladies, Brittany, I believe. No, she wasn't Brittany. She was Crystal. Crystal was her name. And then Erica is talking to this other lady. And at some point, the other lady says, "Is he on the radio?" And her name is Mama Lisa.
Mama Lisa.
I was told to call her. She begged me to call her Lisa. I was told by everyone else in the office that I was required to call her Mama Lisa, so I'm going to go with that.
You better do that. They're controlling your utility bill.
That's exactly right. But Mama Lisa and her husband listen to the show every day when she gets off of work, and I think her husband's on the front porch right now listening. That's where she said he listened.
All right.
So thank you, Mama Lisa, and thank you, husband, to Mama Lisa for listening to the show. So we had a good time, and I said, did you know what I looked like? And she said, "No, I've just been asking every man that walked in here if they were on the radio." She said, "I knew you said you were coming in today to do your electricity." And I said, "You've asked everyone that walked in?" She said, "Yeah, I've asked everyone. Are you on the radio? Are you on the radio? Are you on the radio?" She said, "But when you walked in, I knew that was you." So,
did she give you a sneak peek on when internet is making it to Mount Pleasant?
Internet is in Mount Pleasant. Thank you very much. I'm getting a gigabyte. Is that a lot of bytes? I think that's a lot lot.
I don't know.
You mean gigabit?
Is that? I think it's
different.
I think it's gigabyte.
I thought it's gigabit.
Is it gigabit?
Gigabit internet is good internet. Gigabyte internet is really bad internet. So you're in Mount Pleasant, so I'm guessing gigabyte.
Okay, maybe it is gigabit. I don't know. Am I saying it wrong?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good.
I hope for your sake.
For my sake, I'm saying it wrong. I asked, I told him I had to have the Mac Daddy because if there's storms or whatever, we got to have the home studio. You know how it goes, Ken.
Oh, yes, sir.
And there might be storms because tomorrow, y'all, might get bad tomorrow.
Nah, it's not going to.
You don't think so, Ken?
Not here.
No? Okay. Well, that's good news.
What's the real feel going to be?
I don't know what the real
Why
feel's
you got to
gonna be.
poke the bear so much?
Because you weren't here yesterday, and I didn't get to do it yesterday.
Oh, so you're just catching up.
Brother Jackson's been holding on.
So he's been holding it in.
He's been holding on, boy.
So the story I want to tell you. So we go to all the utilities: gas, water, sewer, and sanitation is handled by the city of Mount Pleasant, which is nice. One stop to do all of those things.
Yes, sir.
And the electric is the only thing handled by the Mount Pleasant Electrical Service. So we go into the city hall to get everything transferred over to our name. And I'm going to post this on my website or on my my X machine site at Matt Murphy Show. If you're not following me, you're doing it wrong. At Matt Murphy Show. But I'll show you guys watching on YouTube television or YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or Rumble. This was a sign on the glass of the Mount Pleasant City Hall place where you pay your utilities. And there's a sign. You can see it there. Am I positioning that correctly, Jackson? Help me out there. Is that good? Does that look good? Okay. I'm going to read it to you. So it's an official little sign.
Is it handwritten?
No, it's official. I mean, it's got the seal in the background and everything. It says, "Notice. We will no longer accept more than 20 coins for payment for any amount due to the city of Mount Pleasant. We apologize for any inconvenience.
They kept getting hay pennies.
No. So Erica noticed it, and she poked me, and she said, "You got to take a picture of this." And so I did. And then Miss Brittany came back to the window, and she was handling everything. And I said, "Brittany," I said, "there has to be a story behind this, right?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "We have a customer. He's an older gentleman, and his water bill got up to $60. And he was very, very angry about it and wanted us to do something about it. And we were trying to explain to him that we could not do anything about it." And she said, so he left. And y'all understand, Mount Pleasant's for like 5,000 people. It's a small, and I love it. I love everything about it.
I would too, man.
Love everything about it. I'm going to learn everybody by name, and I love everything about it. So she said he left City Hall, walked across the street to the one bank, got himself $60 in pennies, and unrolled them and walked back across the street to pay his water bill.
Wow.
And I'm like, man, come on. You're blaming. I mean, you're making these ladies work, and, it's not their fault. Go to a city council meeting if you're that angry about your water bill.
Yeah, it's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
So did they take it?
I think they took that payment, but that initiated the new rule that they will no longer accept more than 20 coins per water bill payment or per any payment. So I said, well, is he still? And he goes, they say, no, he's still a customer. She said, but now he pays by check. And when he writes his check, in the memo feature, he writes in big letters, extortion. I don't get him. Don't you take that crap, sir. I bet he's a Matt Murphy listener.
I bet you he is.
I guarantee he is, because we're on top of this water situation out of Columbia. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on with Scott Sapicki. That's at 4:00 today. We will also speak with Senator Jack Johnson about the upcoming session. The regular session is happening next week, believe it or not.
Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah, next Tuesday. So we'll have Jack on at 5:05 to preview that, to find out what we can expect out of that session, and to give us an explainer on an issue that several of you have reached out to me and asked me to cover, and it involves Governor Bill Lee's decision not to accept $84-ish million in EBT money. This is federal grant money that would come to the state of Tennessee to provide meals for, quote, underprivileged kids during the summer months. So we're going to talk about that as well a little bit later on, too. We'll get to Brink Fiddler at about 3:35. He's going to break down police procedure and police policy when it comes to people using deadly weapons against the police. But I want to speak on that for just a moment here. We had a woman was killed Wednesday. And I'm sad that she made a series of decisions that led to her death. But that is precisely what happened. I am further saddened that we have reached a point in politics in the United States of America that you have elected officials that are actively encouraging the type of behavior that could potentially lead to people getting shot and killed, which is exactly what Democrats are doing. And I frankly have no time nor any inclination toward giving both sides balance on any of this garbage. There is no balance here. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is a division of the executive branch of the federal government of the United States of America. And they are legally allowed only to do that which will enforce the laws that have been passed by the representatives of the United States government in the House of Representatives and in the United States Senate, and signed by presidents, past presidents of the United States of America. If you liberals are so upset with our current immigration law, I would suggest to you that you get out and you mount a campaign and you win a damn election and you get some laws changed. Otherwise, would you mind, if you don't mind, would you stop telling people that it is acceptable to do these types of things that impede upon the ability of legal law enforcement to enforce the laws that have been legally passed by the government of the United States of America. Would you mind? Is that too much to ask? That you do not put weak-minded people in harm's way as a result of your dangerous rhetoric? How much of this garbage do we have to listen to you talk about? You almost got a presidential candidate assassinated, and you never paused with your dangerous Hitler-type rhetoric regarding that political campaign and this current president of the United States of America. And oh, by the way, while I got these rant pants on, is it too much for the mainstream media to stop calling it Trump's immigration policy? Y'all follow me here. I don't think it's too far of a leap. Even those of you listening in Aniana can understand this. This is not Donald Trump's immigration policy. This is immigration policy that has been on the books for decades. Donald Trump has balls enough to enforce it. And it's not my fault that Joe Biden didn't follow the law. And it's not my fault that Barack Obama didn't follow the law. And it's not my fault that George W. Bush didn't follow the law. And it's not my fault that Bill Clinton didn't follow the law. And it's not my fault that George H.W. Bush didn't follow the law. And it's not Donald Trump's fault either. This is not Donald Trump's immigration policy. This is the immigration policy of the United States of America. You are not permitted to be in or stay in our country if you did not follow the legal channels to get here. And if you have done so, you have to be removed. And I am sad to note that over 4 years of the Biden administration, we allowed millions and millions and millions of people to flood the zone. And so sadly, it's going to be a rough ride for the next couple of years getting people that ought not to be here out. But that is consistent with the policies of the United States of America. And why in the world, well, maybe leftist Democrats got accustomed to the idea that Republicans just don't have the intestinal fortitude, the cojones, if you will, to actually follow the law. This guy will. This president will. So would you stop with, Trump administration immigration policy is causing all of this undue stress in inner city communities, and it's causing a great amount of stress amongst those undocumented. What are y'all talking about? If you don't like the law, change it. The great Scott Jennings on CNN said it so well the other night, and I have the clip, and I'll play it for you in a minute. I'm late right now. If I don't like my tax bill come tax time, does that give me permission to drive my car into the United States Treasury? Is it justified to do that because I don't like the amount I'm paying in taxes? Or maybe, just maybe, I should work locally on the state level and on the federal level to see people elected that would change tax policy and lower my tax rate. Maybe that's the way to do it. I'm not happy that Renee Good is dead. I'm not. But she's dead because of her own sad decision-making. We're going to talk more about that coming up in just a few moments. I'm taking your telephone calls on it all day. I've got a lot more to say about it, but I'm out of time. It is 26 after the hour. We'll get back to it next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you feel down in the dumps, if you don't feel yourself, perhaps you've lost a step or two and you're not sure why, or maybe you have the flu or you have a cold. One way or the other, if you're not satisfied with the current level of service at your primary care provider, might I recommend you head on over to Grace Point Healthcare? Grace Point Healthcare is truly affordable and convenient, comprehensive medicine, delivered the old-fashioned way. You know what? Frankly, I'm a little under the weather today. I'm going to be honest with you. And if this doesn't clear up in the next couple of days, you know where I'll be sitting? Grace Point Healthcare, because I believe in these folks. They have the Smart Care Plan. You pay $99 up front a month. If you're an adult, $79 for your kids. And you get unlimited office visits, free basic labs and diagnostics. In other words, they're going to come. You're going to get seen. Oftentimes, it's same day. Or next day, even for brand new patients, because they don't believe in making you wait. I mean, why would you wait 2 weeks to go see the doctor when you're sick right now? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Grace Point Healthcare is located in Franklin, but they want to see everyone in Middle Tennessee. They're great at what they do. Ask about the Smart Care Plan. Ask why a direct pay format with your primary care physician keeps the insurance companies out of the examination room with you and your doctor, and make sure that relationship remains sacrosanct. Modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. It's Grace Point Healthcare.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Vice President J.D. Vance joined today's White House press briefing to say the media is misrepresenting the ICE agent and the woman who was killed in the deadly shooting in Minneapolis yesterday.
Because this was an attack on federal law enforcement. This was an attack on law and order. This was an attack on the American people. The way that the media, by and large, has reported this story has been an absolute disgrace, and it puts our law enforcement officers at risk every single day.
Meanwhile, the FBI not sharing information with Minnesota investigators, and they're not required to by law. Vice President Vance announced a new federal multi-state fraud task force after what was uncovered in child care in Minnesota.
Is we are creating a new assistant attorney general position who will have nationwide jurisdiction over the issue of fraud. Now, of course, that person's efforts will start and focus primarily in Minnesota, but it is going to be a nationwide effort because, unfortunately, the American people have been defrauded in a very nationwide way.
Now, this task force will coordinate investigations and prosecutions across Minnesota, California, and New York and other states that will be flagged for similar schemes. And the U.S. Senate voted 52-47 to move forward on a resolution to prevent the further use of U.S. military action in Venezuela without congressional approval.
The measure advanced in the Senate with the support of 5 Republicans: Susan Collins of Maine, Josh Hawley of Missouri, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Rand Paul of Kentucky, and Todd Young of Indiana. They each joined Democrats in support of a resolution crafted under the War Powers Act that would prevent the president from using the military in Venezuela going forward without congressional authorization. The White House says if the measure were to wind up on his desk, President Trump would veto it. It would then take a 2/3 vote of both houses to enact it into law.
Stephen Portnoy reporting. And the U.S. House set to approve a 3-year extension of Affordable Care Act premium tax credits. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Franklin got a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder, 65 southbound near Paytonsville Road, Goose Creek Bypass, exit 61. Here in Nashville, a crash, Nolensville Pike, just south of Barnes Road. Got the usual brake tapping going on, northbound North Loop up to the Northern Split. And then east and westbound East Loop is pretty slow right now between that downtown Split and the Northern Split. Eastbound 24 past 440 is 2. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hi, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk to you fellas for just a moment. Really, if you ladies are listening and any of the things we discuss reminds you of your guy, maybe you can encourage him to get over to the Tennessee Men's Clinic because the Tennessee Men's Clinic deals with those things that happen in life with men that can significantly impact the relationships for those guys, your mental health, your sense of identity. If you have issues in the bedroom, it can freak a guy out in the head. It's not just the rest of the body, right? So there's good news. There's real help available at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Look, I would not trust an online site. I don't know what those people know and what they don't know, what they're trying to sell, what they're not trying to sell. I don't trust. I mean, a lot of guys try to trust these pills that they get online with side effects or no results at all. Trust the local experts at Tennessee Men's Clinic. You come in, and for $99, they're going to give you a complete workup. They're going to figure out what's going on with you. They're going to sit down and have a consultation with you, get some blood work same day, and they get the blood work back same day. Full medical consultation for less than $100 at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Locations in Clarksville, right here in Midtown, and, of course, Cool Springs. Tell them that I sent you to the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com or call 615-208-9090, 208-9090. Man. Okay, yeah, let's bring it on in here. I just put my headphones on and I hit my head where I got a big knot. Somewhere. It's a good one, Jackson.
I like this one.
You know the background of this song?
Yeah, it was from the Comeback Special. I told you I've seen the movie.
Yeah, I guess they do go over that in the movie because they hand me why. I'm gonna have trouble doing a talk radio show with this going on. All right, let's calm it down. Let's calm it down. Let's not get too crazy yet. Boy, but at the end of this, he goes off, baby. There's the king. He would have been, by the way, 91 years of age today. 91.
Just a few years younger than you.
I mean, he might be 91. You never know. I think, Ken, you and I have talked about, I believe this was predating Jackson. You and I have talked about that Elvis is Alive DVD that I got in the mail years ago. We popped that in and watched that thing.
Yeah.
And some fellas did a Freedom of Information Act, and they got a bunch of redacted material. Yeah. And it's like, and they get it, and they open it up, and it's still wet. The ink's still wet, and they go, "Ooh, if we wipe this off, we can see the redactions." And they do that, and they get an address, and they go to the address, and there's a pink Cadillac sitting in the front. And they interview the king.
The king, baby. Have you seen his car over at the Country Music Hall of Fame?
Oh, no, I don't think I have.
Yeah, got his old car where he's got a telephone in the back seat.
Ooh, Lord have mercy. That's fancy.
Yes, sir.
That was fancy. When Elvis went to the movies,
he's calling people.
Well, that's right. I mean, and he would go to the movies in the middle of the night so that he could go to the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I
bet it was nice.
Big old deal. Yeah, just all by himself, buttered popcorn. Yeah, nice. The king would have been 91 today. We'll get to Brink Fiddler coming up in just a second. 615-737-9986 if you'd like to be a part of the show. 615-737-9986 via telephone, super text line. I'll calm down. I had my rant back. Look, folks, I get very frustrated. The police, obviously, when law enforcement, when they engage bad people or when they engage people generally and things go wrong, it can become deadly. And they have a very, very difficult job. And let's not lose sight of that. I would expect that the ICE officer that felt the need to discharge his weapon and to fire at Renee Good, pardon me, I would expect that he feels worse than anyone. He had to kill someone because he felt that his life was in danger. Let's talk to our man, Brink Fiddler. He's with Defense Systems, but he spent a good amount of time on the Metro Nashville Police Department, police force, and he has a thought or two, I am certain, about proper police procedure and tactics when it comes to the use of deadly force. It's always good to have an expert like Brink on the show with us. Brink, good afternoon. How are you?
Good, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hope everything's going well for Defense Systems at the beginning of the year. Y'all rolling like gangbusters?
Yeah, we've been on the road pretty much since the beginning of the year. Still are. So
well, I mean, you know what I always say is that I wish the world would become the type of place where you'd have to find a different line of work, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon. You know what I'm saying?
I do, yes, sir. Unfortunate job security.
Talk to me about without leading the witness in any particular direction, Brink. Talk to me about your reaction to what happened yesterday morning.
Same as you, tragic. But at the end of the day, the suspect who ended up losing their life is the one that dictated the actions of the officers. And I believe I read that I think it was her brother-in-law that said came out right after the shooting and said she should have basically been staying out of it, for lack of a better way to say it. And so, it's tragic, obviously, when anybody loses their life. And it's really tragic for the officer, too, because as you just mentioned, I mean, he had to take a life. I mean, thankfully, I never had to do that, but I can't imagine what that feels like. So it's obviously tragic that it happened, but at the end of the day, there's nothing pretty about police work. It's just that now everybody sees it, right? It's always been ugly, but just in the world we're in today, with everybody having a camera in their hands 24/7 and body cameras, it's now just being put in front of the public. But it's never been pretty. It's always been an ugly thing. But now people can play Monday morning quarterback a lot easier.
No, I mean, and this is not new with regard to how police interact with individuals in motor vehicles. I was a part of a protest in Montgomery, Alabama. I had just started my radio show in Montgomery in 2000. It was summer or fall of 2000. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I'd only been doing the radio for about 6 months at that point. And a woman was being pursued by police, and she went down into a cul-de-sac and turned her vehicle around in the cul-de-sac, and the police kind of barricaded her in the cul-de-sac, and then a couple of officers got out of their vehicles and approached her vehicle in an attempt to get her out of the vehicle and get her arrested, right? She had stolen a car, and she hit an officer with her vehicle, and she got killed. And there was a tremendous protest. Oh, my God, they killed a woman in cold blood, et cetera, et cetera. And eventually, obviously, the officer was completely exonerated because, and I guess we need to establish this, a vehicle is obviously a deadly weapon. Correct, Brink?
100%. And it doesn't even have to be deadly. I mean, what the law says is you have to be able to articulate a genuine fear of serious bodily injury or death, right? And serious bodily injury can be defined as broken bones, asphyxiation, all sorts of things. So I would say anybody lunging a vehicle towards a human body is at a minimum a fear of serious bodily injury. But to me, it'd be death, obviously, because pedestrian versus vehicle, how many times do you see the pedestrian win?
Does the training from department to department, in your experience, or from agency to agency, does the training change significantly regarding how you deal with these types of situations?
It does vary, believe it or not, agency to agency. At the end of the day, it's about a couple of things. One, can the officer articulate it? There's two schools of thought, and one less popular, in my opinion, as far as law enforcement concerned, is that people have said in the past, well, are you going to stop that vehicle by firing into it? I mean, the answer is maybe I'm not going to stop the vehicle, but am I going to stop the driver's actions? I know that if I'm doing something in my vehicle and I'm driving towards something, and whatever I'm driving towards starts sending rounds through my windshield, that's going to change my behavior. That's going to change everything I'm doing because there's rounds coming through the windshield at me. So to say that it doesn't change the suspect's behavior, I think personally is an asinine statement. However, is it going to stop that vehicle from continuing to go forward? The answer is no, but it's maybe going to stop that driver's actions from being able to hurt anyone else besides just that one officer that was placed in that spot of danger. Now, another school of thought is try not to place yourself in front of the vehicle. I get that 100%. You try not to do that, but in the heat of the moment, and you're just trying to make an arrest and get the attention of the driver, make eye contact with them, give them verbal commands, all those sorts of things. Well, is it easier to give verbal commands and make eye contact with the driver from the front if that's the way they're facing? The answer is yes. You may not be able to get them to look at you looking out your window. So there's nothing perfect about any scenario, but at the end of the day, the officer that is in fear is the one making the decision, again, based on the suspect's actions, though.
I received a message on the super text line, and I'm just going to read you the message and allow you to respond to it. I know how I would respond to it, but I'm not the one that's been trained like you have, Brink. 9860 writes in and says, the first shot was justified. The second two were unnecessary.
Okay, so I equate it like this. If I'm a police officer and I'm on a call and I encounter a person who pulls a gun on me and I start the process of being able to defend myself, right? I.e., I draw my weapon, I come up and I start sending rounds towards that bad guy. After I fire the first round, if the suspect drops the weapon, you're supposed to tell me that my brain is supposed to process that in 0.0003 seconds and not fire the second and third shot. That's insane to me. But again, if you've never been in that situation, then I understand how you could draw conclusions like that maybe. But I've been in that situation, right, where I had to make decisions under split seconds, and your brain and your body can't communicate that fast with each other under stress, especially when your life's in danger, and all you're trying to do is preserve your life and the life of other people. So I understand where they're coming from, but I don't think that argument holds any water at all until you've been put in that situation.
Well, and I also think it goes to your original point, and I've tried in my unlearned position to make this point about law enforcement because I know enough members of law enforcement. I've spoken with them enough to understand that what they have to do on a day-to-day basis is oftentimes very unpleasant. And us watching that unpleasant nature of the job that law enforcement do, that doesn't mean that what they're doing is illegal. That doesn't mean that what they're doing is wrong. That means that sometimes when they're dealing with really, really bad people that are willing to harm other citizens, that the police have to do things in order to facilitate an arrest immediately or to put other people out of harm's way and their fellow officers out of harm's way. And that sometimes means taking down perpetrators in a very rough manner, even, dare I say, a violent manner. Sometimes that means having to use deadly force to prevent the loss of life from a police perspective or from a citizen's perspective.
That's correct, and you said it best. It's unpleasant to the average person. The only difference is now that we're seeing it. Police work itself, I mean, what they have to do every day hasn't changed. It's just now you see it because it's all on video everywhere. And so in order for a society to be truly free, I mean, you have to have good men that are willing to be more violent than the violent offenders, right? I mean, it's kind of a conundrum, but it's true. So if we want to meet force with force, which is really the only answer to a perpetrator that's trying to use force against us or an innocent third party, then we have to use force to stop that person. And again, when is that ever pretty? When is that ever pleasant to watch? I mean, the answer is never. It's just the general public is not used to seeing this stuff, and now that we see it every single day, it's more quote unquote shocking. But those of us that have done this job and done it for so long, it's what we did every single day. The difference is you just see it now.
I'm reminded of another situation that happened in the metro area of Birmingham, Alabama, a number of years after that one that I related to you out of Montgomery. This was probably 2008, maybe 2009. I might have my years wrong, but it was in Hoover where there was a high-speed chase. An individual, I think, had stolen a vehicle. He was wanted for a number of crimes. He was eluding police. They had put down spike strips. He had tried to run over a couple of officers. I mean, it was bad. It was just a bad deal. And he eventually got on 459, which was an interstate there outside of the city, and he flipped his van. And in the process of flipping the van as they were in pursuit, he flew out of the vehicle. And so officers descended upon him, and they facilitated a takedown. Well, it turned out that he was unconscious. And so they made they put 5 officers on trial. For use of force unnecessary and for all of these types of things, and they were eventually exonerated. And I've had many of the officers on my show during the time to say what they could about the case at the time that it was going on. But this hindsight mentality that we are to expect officers to know that a violent perpetrator that has already attempted to kill police officers is not unconscious. I mean, they have no idea of knowing in that split second what's going on. And his hands were underneath him. And for those who have not watched the video, you can see it online. His hands were underneath him, and they were screaming at him to get his hands out from underneath him. And he wasn't doing it because he was unconscious. And so they took him down. And they used techniques that look very, very awful. I mean, I'm not sugarcoating it. The techniques that have to be used are not pleasant to watch. That's the best way that I can put it. But, I mean, as you well know, Brink, sometimes they are necessary to make sure that officers' lives and the people that are around the situation's lives are safe.
Right, and if you wait to act as an officer, right, if you wait to act to be sure, then that could be the difference in you going home or not. And that's what people don't understand. Until you've walked a mile in their shoes, like, you got to understand what they're up against, and pretty much every time you go on a call, you have to assume that somebody there is either wanting or willing to kill you. And if that's what you deal with 8.5 or 10 hours a day, then your perspective on every single call and what every single person does is different. And I understand everybody's had a bad experience with a cop, right? Me too, whatever. But you got to think, does anybody call the police because they're having a good day? I mean, obviously the answer is no. And then there's another thing they drove home to us in the academy is every single call you go on and every single traffic stop you make, there's at least one gun involved, right? And it's on your hip. So if you think there are people that aren't willing to try and take that from you to keep their freedom, you know, as police officers, you're given two of the most powerful, I guess, powers in society, right? The power to take somebody's life and the power to take somebody's freedom. And if you don't think there are people that are willing to kill you to keep you from doing that, you're deadly wrong. So if that's how you go to work every day and you strap on a firearm and a bullet-resistant vest, then, you know, your perspective on life is going to be very different than most people who are sitting back watching this thing on YouTube or TikTok or whatever they're watching it on today. You know, until you're standing in front of that car and your life is in danger, it's going to be hard for you to justify your opinion. I'm not saying you can't have an opinion, but I think they need to look at it through a different lens before the people start jumping on the police.
And that does not mean that we ought not to monitor the police and to make sure that they're doing the things the right way, the way they should be doing them. I think we have a better ability of doing that today because of the number of cameras, because of the body cameras that most police departments initiate and use. And I'm glad that that's out there because but sadly, that also creates this emotional response from people that don't want to think rationally about what a police officer is going through in that millisecond of time when he has to make that deadly force decision. Real quick before I have to say goodbye, Brink. So someone has written in and says, so according to Brink, once a cop starts shooting, and I don't think this is what you said, by the way, once a cop starts shooting, that cop isn't responsible to stop shooting if the threat has ceased? And that's not what you said.
Not what I said at all. I talked about how long it takes from the brain to talk to the body before you're able to stop the actions that you've started with. So, you know, if you put a stopwatch on how fast he fired those 3 rounds, it's under a second. So, I mean, just do some research on how long it takes your body and your brain to react. I mean, here's a great example that, you know, there's a reason when you're in traffic, they teach you to be 1 car length for every 10 miles an hour, right? There's science behind that and how long it takes your brain to process what it's seeing and talk to your body to activate your brake. The exact same thing goes with your trigger finger. So I understand what they're getting at, but that's not what I said. What I'm saying is it takes longer than you think to process and make a decision based on that. Had he emptied an entire mag or continued to shoot over and over and over again, then we'd have a totally different thing to talk about. But he didn't. Right. He fired, I think it was 3 rounds total in under a second in defense of his life. I have no issue with that.
Brink, always great to catch up with you. I appreciate your expertise, appreciate everything you do for the community, and we'll talk again soon, my friend.
Yep, sounds great. Thanks.
All right, take care. There's Brink Fiddler with Defense Systems. Go to defensesystems.com to find out more about his wonderful organization. 56 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Alpha and Omega. Alpha and Omega want you to have a successful 2026. If you're a business owner, one of the ways to make sure that you are going to have a successful year is to call Michael and Alpha and Omega and allow Michael to explain to you exactly what he can do for you to take all of your IT issues off your plate. That's what it's all about. Imagine not having to deal with emails, not having to deal with servers, not having to deal with IT issues like cybersecurity issues, ransomware. Goodness me, there are 14 successful ransomware attacks on a daily basis. If you're a business owner, you probably already know this, and you're either trying to handle this yourself and spending 20% of your day doing it, or you might have engaged with an IT company that might be charging you too much or not giving you the value by giving you the services that you deserve. One way or the other, you owe it to yourself to call Michael and his team at Alpha and Omega. Locally owned and locally sourced, meaning everything that they do is happening right here in Middle Tennessee. They don't outsource it to some foreign country or some foreign state. 615, I said foreign state. I didn't mean foreign state. You don't know what I'm talking about. 615-784-0096, 784-0096, or a&o.net.
Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Vice President J.D. Vance joined today's White House press briefing. Weighed in on the deadly ICE-involved shooting in Minneapolis yesterday.
What you see is what you get in this case. You have a woman who is trying to obstruct a legitimate law enforcement operation. Nobody debates that. You have a woman who aimed her car at a law enforcement officer and pressed on the accelerator. Nobody debates that. I can believe that her death is a tragedy while also recognizing that it's a tragedy of her own making.
Well, on the other side, you got Governor Tim Walz.
Minnesotans will tell her life story. Minnesotans will be there to defend her honor and see this as a human being, not a moment in time or the callous casualness that I've watched some people on TV gloss over what they saw.
Meanwhile, the FBI is not sharing information with Minnesota investigators. They are not required to by law. In response to the Minnesota child care scandal, Vice President Vance unveiled a multi-state federal fraud task force, which he says will be created with a new assistant attorney general position aimed at rooting out abuses in Minnesota and beyond.
It will be run out of the White House under the supervision of me and the President of the United States. And number two, it's actually constitutionally legitimate. As you guys may know, the special counsel statute has some major constitutional questions. When we get the bad guys, we want to make sure we get them permanently and they don't have some legal technicality they can get out of, which is why we set it up as an associate attorney general.
Yeah, Vance warned that no state will be off limits. U.S. Senate's advanced a war powers resolution aimed at limiting President Trump's ability to use military force in Venezuela without congressional approval. 5 Republicans joined Democrats to pass it. President Trump posted to Truth Social those senators, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and Rand Paul, Josh Lawley, and Todd Young, should never be elected to office again. And the House moving forward on a plan to extend Obamacare tax credits for 3 more years. Here's Jay O'Brien.
This is a vote that Democrats forced, right? They did a procedural move where they got a handful of Republicans to join with them and force this bill onto the House floor because Republican leadership, Speaker Johnson, was blocking a vote on this.
That bill now heads to the Senate, where negotiations are expected to be tougher. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, it is complete stop-and-go traffic northbound North Loop to the northern interchange, and then you've got eastbound South Loop over to 65 coming to complete stops. So is eastbound 24 right there at 440. And in Franklin, still got a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder. That's going to be 65 southbound at exit 61. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, here we go. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Hour number 2 starts right now. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We will set aside an opportunity after 4:30 news for those of you who desire to comment on the Minneapolis, Minnesota situation, to comment. You've heard my comments, my initial comments. I've got a lot more to say about it. But we will suspend that until about 4:35, unless our next guest has anything to say about it. But we're going to turn our attention to more local issues and statewide issues, as there is a regular session of the Tennessee General Assembly coming into session next Tuesday. Believe it or not, here we are. And it's an election year, so we might get some good things out of this session, because they always give us the good stuff on election years. With that in mind, we welcome back to the program, and not only the session, but we also have some Columbia County issues to talk about. Columbia, Tennessee issues, Murray County issues to talk about with regard to water. And his name is Representative Scott Spicky, and he joins us in the studio. Hey, Scott.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Murray County.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been good so far.
Yeah, it's, your wife coming made it look better.
That 100%. It kind of balances.
1 out of 2 is not bad.
It kind of balances itself out.
1 out of 2.
Much like you and your wife, kind of balances itself out. Balances itself out. Good looking, bad looking. You know how it goes. Outkick your coverage.
Next is Ken Weaver.
Weaver.
And then Action Jackson.
My coverage.
Listen, we need to get Weaver out there. I mean, Weaver needs to get off that 24 corridor and get on down to Murray County.
I think we may get the Weaver as the Grand Marshal of Murray County, of Mule Day.
Weaver, that sounds like an invite. I mean,
does that come with a hat and a whistle?
Hat and a whistle.
Yeah, sure. I'll give you a hat and a whistle if you do it. Hey, Ken, I'm going to be a part of Mule Day. When's Mule Day?
Usually right around first part of April into March.
I'm in.
That's a big celebration.
Oh, I'm all in. Scott's already invited me to ride on his wagon.
Ride in the truck.
Right. Oh, in the truck.
In the truck.
Are you going to have signs on it that say Real Ex-Consa Picky or whatever? And I'll do all
Matt Murphy. We can have Matt Murphy. I'll be able to start cheering. I'll be like, yes.
Let's start with, I know we've got the General Assembly coming up, and obviously a lot of important things
There'll be
going on
plenty of time to talk about the General Assembly.
I want to talk about what's happening tonight.
Sure.
And I apologize. I've done this on a couple of occasions. I grew up in Thompson, Georgia, Thomson, no P in Thompson, which was in McDuffie County, which was right next door to Columbia County. And because of that, in my head, I say Columbia County a lot, and I'm sorry. I know it's Columbia, Tennessee. I know it's Murray County. The Columbia Power and Water Board has presented this proposal to the Columbia City Council.
Correct.
It's had its first reading.
Correct.
It passed. And tonight is second reading.
That's right.
And if it passes tonight, they are going to move forward presenting this proposal to the particular people and the state agencies that need to approve of it.
Correct.
In order to borrow over $500 million.
$520 million.
And pass that borrowed money on to the ratepayers that utilize either directly or indirectly Columbia Power and Water.
Provide a 20-year solution with a 30 to 40-year payback.
Yeah, that's a tough sell.
Yeah.
So you were at the study session?
I was at a study session. It was well attended by the people of Murray County speaking their opposition to it. As I said in the meeting back then on Tuesday, that's the second meeting I've been to. I'm assuming this will be the third meeting I'm going to be attending here shortly later on tonight. We're still waiting for someone to come to the microphone other than Columbia Power and Water to support the project. I haven't seen one.
So there's not been one citizen,
not one,
to step forward and say, I'm in favor of this?
Not one.
So do you believe that this proposal and this project, as it was presented on these airwaves with Matt Wheeler with Columbia Power and Water, we gave him an opportunity to speak last week.
I listened to it.
Do you believe that this proposal is necessary?
I believe it's something that we need to consider. They've been working on this solution for 8 years. Since the governor and the General Assembly made it perfectly clear we're going to protect the Duck River, and the governor tasks that Duck River Planning Agency to come up with viable solutions, in 8 months we've come up with 7 different solutions. 7 different solutions, Matt. 8 years on one, 8 months for 7 other options.
So we have 7 other options on the table outside of this proposal that will be voted on tonight.
That we're working on.
That you believe should be considered.
Before we spend $500 million. And if you look at $500 million, what's that mean, right? What's that mean to a utility? When I talk to the funding agencies up here in Nashville, when Nashville or Memphis or Chattanooga or Knoxville want to do a major utility upgrade like this, right? $500 million gives the state pause at the Nashville Electric size level. Now, Columbia Power and Water is a very well-run mid-level utility, right? It's a mid-level utility. It services around 28,000 people, right? 28,000 customers, okay? That's not Nashville. That's not Knoxville. That's not Chattanooga. That's not Memphis. And they want to borrow on the scale of Nashville. Now, if we run the traps on all these other options and they don't get us to where we need to get to, okay, then we need to start talking about, okay, what's left on the table? You know, the old theory of Occam's razor, right? You keep stripping away everything else, and whatever's left has to be the solution. Well, we haven't started stripping anything away yet.
So what I was told by Columbia Power and Water, and if you listen to it, you probably heard Matt Wheeler say this, is that we're the only shovel-ready project. And I kind of dispelled that because
that's not true.
That's not true. They've not acquired all the property. Right. He says they can start the construction and they'll still do that at the same time, but that's not, in my definition, shovel-ready.
They have all the permits in hand.
Right. So this proposal is further along than the other proposals.
In theory, because remember, we've got the 3 million gallons that's coming from Harpeth Valley through HB&T. That's going to deliver 3 million gallons to Murray County side automatically. We know that's going to happen because the pipeline's supposed to be completed by the end of this fall.
I'm just trying to examine this and try to figure out why the players are taking the positions that they're taking. And I guess I kind of understand why Columbia Power and Water would take this position, because it's going to grow their strength throughout the region. It's going to increase the necessity for other municipalities, I would expect, as those other municipalities grow from utilizing wholesale water from Columbia Power and Water. So it grows their entity. I get that. But why the rush? Why the energy to get this done? And Matt Wheeler says, no, there's no rush. This has been going on for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. For me, the question for you then, Sapicki, is there a dramatic issue that could happen in the next month or 2 or 3 that would cause people to turn on their tap and not have any water?
Okay, let's talk about the why. What is the hurry, right? When you listen to Columbia Power and Water, they're talking about dire straits. We don't know if we get into a drought, you're going to turn your water on, is water going to come out? When I talked to the experts at TDEC and I asked them point blank, is there a water issue in Murray County from the Duck River? And their answer was no. There is no water issue. There are 19 million more gallons that can be delivered from the Duck River to service southern Middle Tennessee. Every million gallons is 4,000 hookups. That's 76,000 additional hookups that could happen. The issue from TDEC's perspective, what they've told me, is it's not the water, it's the ability to process and deliver the water.
Okay.
Hence, part of the program from Columbia Power and Water is expansion of their water treatment facility. They need more ability to process water. I get it. Okay, we've grown. I get it. Do we need to spend $500 million on something that may not exist? Are there other alternatives to get you to the same net position?
Okay. Yeah.
And the answer is yes. Now, are they shovel ready? No. We just started having this discussion 8 months ago. You got to give us time to run the traps on this. The governor has tasked them, and they've come up with this regional study for southern middle Tennessee. Can we interconnect multiple counties to create redundancies in the systems, multiple water sources to provide water from different parts of different rivers so we don't depend on one? The answer is yes, we can do that. But we got to start the process. And all we're asking for is, okay, you know where you are with Columbia Power and Water. You've got that ready to go. You've got your permits.
Mm-hmm.
Pause. Let's run the traps on everything else to see what comes up. Maybe we get a better solution, or maybe we get a solution that in combination doesn't require you to have to borrow $500 million.
I asked the question a few days ago, and I'll ask it again to you, Scott, because I don't feel like my biggest issue is that if this were just being passed on to the ratepayers in Columbia, then that's one thing, because they can make some decisions too. If the city council votes to pass this along to them, then next election cycle they're going to respond one way or the other.
Correct.
You know, but if I'm in rural Murray County, I don't have any control over what the city of Columbia does.
That's correct.
If I'm in Spring Hill, you know, I can go to my mayor, I suppose, and say, hey, can we find a different source of water? And that's another issue, because if that happens, and it may,
they can,
then Columbia Power and Water's not going to be in control of the rates anymore, and we can talk about that in a minute. My biggest issue is it feels like taxation without representation.
It's 100%. Because, you know, and I heard what Mr. Wheeler said about, well, you know, if Murray County wants to leave, let them leave. Well, that's not working together. That's not working together. And here's the other thing. Spring Hill's already made it perfectly clear that they're going to find the cheapest water, whether it's from Columbia, Murray County Water Systems, or HB&T, who's north of them in Williamson County.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Spring Hill buys water from Columbia Power and Water that they distribute to the Williamson County side.
Mm-hmm.
So now this decision reaches outside the county to affect ratepayers outside of Murray County. What happens to this whole borrowing if you lose Spring Hill, you lose Murray County, and you lose Mount Pleasant? Now, does that 140% become 200%, become 400%? Because, and we're probably want to talk about this, when you sign a contract to borrow state taxpayer money, right?
That's right.
And you borrow federal money, and you go to the bond market and borrow bond market money, they make it perfectly clear you understand that you will repay this. And when you borrow this type of money, there's a mechanism called TBOR. It's an acronym. I don't know what the acronym stands for, but basically it's the group from the comptroller's office that audits and evaluates this utility's ability to remain solvent, to service their debt, and to maintain their viability moving forward. And if the comptrollers through TBOR feels that for some reason, like they lose customers and they're not collecting enough money in fees because they're not high enough, the comptroller's obligation to the people of Tennessee is to make sure that money's repaid, and the comptroller can come down and tell Columbia Power and Water and Columbia what the rates are.
In other words, so this 150% increase over 5 years, and they say it's a worst case scenario, and that's fine. But if they lose enough customers, because they're basing that on a certain number of customers, a certain amount of growth, et cetera. If they lose enough customers, what you're saying is the state's still going to want their money. The bondholder, they
have to get their money.
They're going to get their money, and so you've got to carve that out off the top.
Off the top.
And if you're in the negative, then you have to raise rates
because you got to maintain the viability of the utility.
Right. And so the state's not going to go, oh, well, we won't take our money this month, or we won't take our money this year. Don't worry about it. The state's going to go raise rates, and they'll have to raise rates.
Because if the city council doesn't vote to raise rates like the state says, then the state will come down and say, here's your rates.
I mean, so it seems to me that it's an appropriate question to ask the council people for the city of Columbia tonight, why are you giving up your ability to set rates for local customers?
You are.
Because you are.
You are. Because once you sign on the dotted line with your bankers, and the state of Tennessee and the feds aren't the worst here, it's the bond market. Because those are private investors that want their money back. You will repay the money.
What are some of the and I know we only have a couple of minutes left, but what are some of the other ideas on the table that you think might need to be considered before this vote tonight?
8 months we've been working and working on this project, right? Raising Normandy Dam 5 feet. That backs up an additional 5 billion gallons of water.
Okay.
5 billion.
Okay.
Off-river reservoirs. So instead of one big dam, you build smaller holding ponds to be able to pump water into so that if you do have a drought, you have resources to use, right? Installation of the intake for Columbia Power Water. That's another solution, right?
Sure.
The Harpeth Valley connection. How much water can we actually get? I think they're pumping about 32 million gallons right now from the Cumberland. I think they're permitted for 83 million. How much water can we pull down, right?
Yeah.
Murray County has an intake request for 3 million gallons. Can we allocate that to Marshall County that's already has their intake and their processing plant? Connect Marshall and Murray and get that 3 million pumped back into Murray County. 3 more million gallons, right? And then here's the big one. A regional water commission where you connect from Bedford County, Marshall County, Murray County, Giles County, Lewis County, Lawrence County, Hickman County, and Wayne County. Interconnectivity, redundancy, safety in numbers, right, Matt? Hey, if you got to borrow $500 million, spread it out over 7, 8, 9, 10 counties, right? Who are all going to benefit from that water.
Well, and if you gather together with this level of regional cooperation, then everybody's doing something together. It's not one organization telling everybody else how it's going to be.
And if you can connect down the Wayne County, that's where the Tennessee River swings north. And instead of that 30, 40-mile pipeline from the Tennessee River, it's probably less than 2 miles.
So bottom line is there are other solutions that need to be considered, and there's a lot of people that are paying close attention to this now, aware of this now. What do you expect happens tonight?
It's going to pass. I'll be shocked if it doesn't. I will probably be the first one to come on the air tomorrow and go, I was shocked.
Okay.
I think that they're not listening to the people. They're not listening to their elected leaders that are working on this. The worst thing, Matt, is they're not listening to their constituents. And the first thing you learn as an elected official, when it's this overwhelming one way, you better listen to the people.
And no one is saying that this project doesn't move forward 6 months from now, by the way.
Well, we're hoping, just give us time to work these things out. Give us till August, September.
If the vote at the city council happens, what happens then?
So now the process starts of trying to accumulate the money, get the approvals for all the loans, and it's going to have to come back up here to the state. And I've already told them I will be working up here in the state to see if I can put a pause on this until we can get what the governor requested, a regionalization study due back in August of this year. Let's make sure we run all the traps and everything first to figure out if we have this once Occam's razor, right? If Columbia Power Water Solution is the last one standing, then there you are.
What's the first bill you're running?
I've already filed it. It's on the presidential physical fitness bill. It requires our high schoolers and kids throughout our K-12 system to take the presidential physical fitness, and if they pass it, they get an award for that.
I hated that rope pull.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Oh, my gosh.
The bill we're going to file here shortly is an election bill.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. The bill we're going to file here that's going to either hit today or tomorrow is an election bill. It moves all elections to either August or November.
Oh, I like that.
So these municipalities that have elections in March and stuff like Spring Hill does, everything will be moved to August, November. So as someone who votes in Tennessee, you show up twice. That's it, August or November. And then the other thing is we do have a problem with our municipalities. We're going to give our local parties the ability to partisan local elections.
Oh, I like that.
So there you go. That's
the ability, not requirement.
They don't have to, but they can.
That's nice, too.
There you go.
Well, we'll talk about those things next time. Thank you for being on with us.
It's not going to be dull this year, folks.
Enjoy tonight.
I'm on my way.
Let us know how it goes. There's Scott and Piggy, 26 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so we're now a week into the new year, 2026. I don't know how long you say Happy New Year, but Happy New Year from Contours LLC. Have you looked in the mirror lately? I mean, are you feeling the after effects of the holidays? I know I am. I mean, I announced when it we came back on the air in the new year. I was like, look, I've gained, it was actually 5.5. And thankfully, I've already lost some of the water weight, so it's more like 4 pounds. But the bottom line is we all gain a little weight over the holidays because you're eating the fudge, you're eating the chocolates, you're eating the delicious food available for the Christmas holiday. Do you need to get that weight off? Contours LLC wants to talk to you. Keith, Stephanie, the rest of the team. Friends, their red light technology works. I know that it works because I am a client, not just a spokesperson for Contours LLC. And this solution, this red light technology, it's pretty incredible how it works. It's safe, it's painless, it's effective, it's cost effective, and the belly buster is just $99, friends, for the first one. And then you can buy a package of treatments and you can lose that stubborn fat that you've been trying to get off. Friends, call the team at Contours at 615-236 $99.60, 236-9960, or online at contoursllc.com. After all, what do you have to lose but inches?
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Bracing for protests in Minneapolis. Governor Tim Walz there in Minnesota authorizing the National Guard to support police officers who will be tasked with keeping the peace during these protests tonight over that deadly ICE shooting. Meanwhile, the New York Post says it has obtained exclusive information about the woman who was killed. The Post is reporting 37-year-old Renee Good was active in an anti-ICE group called ICE Watch, which trains members to resist immigration raids. She reportedly received training on how to respond to ICE presence and was deeply engaged in social justice activism through her child's charter school. Vice President J.D. Vance joined today's White House press briefing and was asked about the deadly ICE-involved shooting there and whether there are any discrepancies between what the video shows and what the administration is saying.
Presumably you watched the video yourself. There's not the slightest doubt in your mind, having viewed it, that the victim, you still believe that she deliberately tried to ram him despite seeing this video?
Look, I don't know what is in a person's heart or in a person's head, and obviously we're not going to get the chance to ask this woman what was going on. What I am certain of is that she violated the law. What I am certain of is that that officer had every reason to think that he was under very serious threat for injury or in fact, his life.
Meanwhile, the FBI is not sharing information about the case with Minnesota investigators, and they are not required to by law. U.S. Senate today approving a War Powers Resolution 52-47 requiring congressional approval for future hostilities. Meanwhile, President Trump lashing out at the 5 Republican senators who voted with Democrats, posting to Truth Social, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Rand Paul, Josh Hawley, and Todd Young should never be elected to office again. And the House has just approved a clean 3-year extension of the Affordable Care Act subsidies that expired at the end of last year. It faces a more uphill battle in the Senate. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Yeah, you're coming to a complete stop if you're eastbound to East Loop over to the downtown split. Gets a little bit better after that. Eastbound 440, complete stop there between 65 and 24. If you're trying to get to 24, that's going to continue eastbound there from 440. In Williamson County, still got a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder, 65 southbound near Paytonsville Road, Goose Creek Bypass, exit 61. And just picked up a crash on the right shoulder, 24 eastbound past Medical Center Parkway in Murfreesboro. I'm Ken Weaver.
You know, I'm calling Jeff Eddy with Efficient Heating and Cooling because one of the things when you purchase an older home, I want to talk to Jeff about the necessity of cleaning out the ductwork, and maybe that's something that we want to do. We're obviously going to maintenance the AC units. We're going to maintenance the heating units in the home to make sure that they're running as efficiently as possible. That's on my list. And so, Jeff, if you're listening to the show, you're going to get a call from Murphy and probably from a lot of other people because Jeff Eddy is the one to call at Efficient Heating and Cooling when it comes to results with your heater. Results with your AC, really? I mean, it's hard to believe I'm talking about that on January 8th, but frankly, the AC's been running as much as the heat lately because of the warm weather conditions that we've experienced. But it's getting cooler this weekend. And with that in mind, you need to make sure that that unit's running properly. If you find an issue, find Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. And I've got the number, 615-784-4424, 784-4424 for efficienthvac.net, efficienthvac.net, Efficient Heating and Cooling. And Jeff Eddy, if your heater's not ready, call Jeff Eddy. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for the Glock store. It's a new year, and I got to tell you about some new happenings at the Glock store. I'm very excited about it. Now, for years, you've been hearing me talk about how the Glock store is, well, everything Glock. I mean, it's in their name. The Glock store. Well, if you've not heard the latest, the Gen 6 is here. These are the ones with the new optic system, the RTF6 texturing, the enlarged beaver tail, flat-face trigger guard undercut, integrated thumb rest. I mean, this is a great upgrade. That thumb rest, they call that the gas pedal. Well, the list goes on the Gen 6. Well, the Gen 6 Glocks are the most refined Glocks ever produced in stock. And as you might expect, the Glock store, they've already received their first shipment. They've got the 17s, the 19s, and the 45s. They're literally, they're going to be gone. I mean, they were actually gone before they got there because of pre-ordering. Glock store is allowing you to pre-order these new Glocks so you'll be one of the first to get your hands on one as a thank you for your pre-order. You go to the Glock store, you pre-order. If you mention Matt Murphy, we will get you an extra magazine when you pick up your new Gen 6 Glock at no cost to you. Here's what you do. Just get on down to the Glock store, check out the Gen 6 Glocks in the rental department. You can fire it if you want. You can go to one of the shooting rooms and see what's going on. Then you tell them that you heard about them on the Matt Murphy Show, and when the new Glock comes in, hey, it's a magazine on us. A limited time offer and only from the Glock store. Minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. It's the Glock store.
Yeah, baby.
Uh-huh. I want to dissect this song while it's playing. In the Whale. Have y'all ever listened to the lyrics?
Yes.
We've talked about this.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Everybody, let's rock. Listen to this verse. Wait, it's not this verse. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, we just got a little band going on. Elvis Presley would have been 91 today. This is the one I'm... Okay. What? Huh? What? Number. If I didn't know any better, I think number 3 is a little light in the loafers. I don't understand why more people haven't spoken of this in the past. I have noticed it, and we've talked about it before, Ken.
I believe we did last year, Brother Murphy.
I was about to say it was last January the 8th. So, yeah, verse number 3, number 47. So we're in jail, right? The whole thing is the warden threw a party in the county jail. The prison band was there. They began to wail. The band was jumping and the joint began to swing. You should have heard those knocked out jailbirds sing. And then Spider Murphy, as you heard the great Elvis Presley just said, Spider Murphy played the tenor saxophone. Little Joe was blowing on the slide trombone. The drummer boy from Illinois went crash, boom, bang. The whole rhythm section was a Purple Gang. And then verse 3. Number 47. So these are inmates. Number 47 said to number 3, "You're the cutest jailbird I ever did see. I sure would be delighted with your company. Come on and do the jailhouse rock with me."
Maybe he's just talking about Let's Dance.
I mean, okay.
Maybe it's a
okay
gender.
Yes,
I don't
Jackson.
know.
Wait. No, hold on.
Maybe it's not
by the way,
a male prison.
Are you're saying it's a gender diverse prison?
Yes.
It's a what do they call those dormitories? Oh gosh,
Co-ed?
Co-ed.
That's
You're
what
saying
I
it's
was thinking of.
It's a co-ed prison?
Yes.
Huh.
Ain't no such thing.
I don't know, Ken. This was the 50s. Matt would know best.
Final verse, by the way, doesn't get any better. Sad sack was sitting on a block of stone, way over in the corner, weeping all alone. The warden said, hey, buddy, don't you be no square. If you can't find a partner, use a wooden chair. Well, okay.
I just use a wooden chair to dance with.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm just... 4725 says, county jails are co-ed, Murphy. You are a liar and the truth ain't in you.
Well, maybe one side is, one and the other side is the other.
We're just
I will say,
yes,
the music video, a lot of dudes.
yes. That's the one from the movie, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
A lot of dudes.
Yeah, there's a lot of fellows dancing together.
I don't see. I've been watching a good bit of it. And if I see a lovely lady, I'll let you know.
I don't. You know what occurs to me? I got a spider on my shirt today, so I'm kind of Spider Murphy today.
You got a spider on your shirt?
I do.
Better get it off there.
Yeah, right there. Well, black witter.
Oh, it's sewed in there.
Yeah, it's a sewed up spider.
I thought you had a real spider on your shirt.
No. These were my work clothes this morning when I was unloading the truck. I look like Jed Clampett rolling up in Mount Pleasant. All right, so there you go. It's Elvis's birthday, so we're celebrating with a few
Happy
Elvis
birthday,
ditties.
King.
Happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you very much. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Well, and now people are breaking down the lyrics, and they're defending the honor of the king and the author of this song by saying, Murphy, it was a county jail, and in county jails, sometimes these are co-educational opportunities or whatever, males and females in county jails. Okay, that's not true, but whatever. I mean, that's fine. And by the way, y'all are saying it's a county jail, and I understand that they say that the first lyric, but there aren't any wardens in the county jail. Maybe we're just looking too much into this. Maybe
we are.
Maybe they're just talking about doing some dancing. 44 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WT. You know, just some dancing. Yeah, I mean, you got no women around. You gotta dance.
Well, they did in Cool Hand Luke.
They did in Cool Hand Luke. That's true. Actually, 2796 reminds us of that. They said, think about the scene in Cool Hand Luke where the inmates were dancing with each other. Okay. All right. I mean, y'all, that's fine. I love the king. I'm a big fan. I'm not saying, I'm kind of saying it's weird. I would love to hear more reaction from you regarding what went down yesterday morning in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Obviously, there's a lot of emotion going on regarding this fatal shooting in Minneapolis. This woman, the media is desperately trying to characterize her as just a mother, and she's just a citizen, she's just a resident or whatever. Renee Good lost her life yesterday morning. The woman was told by agents to stop. She did not. She would not. She intentionally blocked the roadway. I was listening to Nashville's Morning News this morning as I was driving, and Dan Mandis made such an excellent point. You know, the hashtag never CNNs of the world, and I hate this media organization. I hate it with a passion. I hate it with the fire of 100 suns because they pretend that they are neutral. And it's just garbage, which is why I call them hashtag never CNN. Don't watch CNN. Garbage network full of garbage people spewing garbage. I will watch CNN, so you do not have to. I will consider it an occupational hazard of the Matt Murphy Show. But these garbage people on CNN's like, well, she blocked the roadway for 3 minutes, and we really don't know why she was blocking. You don't know why she was blocking the roadway? Her partner got out of the car and videoed all of this. They were intentionally there to intentionally stymie the efforts of Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Well, and did you see what the New York Post has exclusively obtained?
I don't know that I have, Ken. What do they have?
According to the New York Post, Good was active in an anti-ICE group called ICE Watch.
Okay.
Which trains members to resist immigration raids.
Oh, so she was actively participating in a group dynamic by which they taught one another how to engage in this type of activity.
That's what that report by the New York Post would suggest.
Well, I mean, when did it become acceptable for certain portions of the United States of America to actively interfere with legal law enforcement proceedings? Like I said at the beginning of the show, and I'd love to hear from any of you that disagree with me on this. I'm open for correction. But explain to me how we went from peaceful protest to you get to park your car in the middle of the street and interfere with Immigration and Customs Enforcement and actively stop them from doing their jobs, their legal obligation, and then you don't expect to have any of that come back on you. Well, obviously, at least I thought previous to this moment that it was obvious that you're not allowed to block traffic. You're not allowed to get in the way of law enforcement. And if you do get in the way of law, whether it's local law enforcement, state law enforcement, federal law enforcement, you're going to be arrested. She had been following and harassing and impeding these agents and officers all morning. She was told to stop. By the way, did she not have, she had like Missouri plates on her car. I want to say that I saw that somewhere last night, that she was killed, sat in her Honda Pilot, blocked the road while her wife or partner stood outside the car and took a video of the whole thing on her cell phone because that's what they do. The woman was told by agents to stop. She would not stop. Instead, she put the car in reverse and tried to reverse the vehicle. And when that didn't work because of the icy patch that she was on, she put the car in drive and she gunned the accelerator. The officer in front of her vehicle, and I don't need to go through all of this because I think rational people can set their emotions aside and recognize that that officer in that moment in time feared for his life. And if someone in a deadly weapon, and that's what she was in, a deadly weapon, an automobile becomes a deadly weapon. It doesn't have to be deadly, but a weapon nonetheless, then that officer is justified if she uses that weapon in a way that puts him in fear for his life or bodily safety. Well, she did. And I'm sorry she did, because she's dead now, and now you've got orphaned children, and that's awful. But that's on her. That's her responsibility. That is suicide by cop. She tried to run over a police officer, and she was shot as a result. The car sped off and crashed into a row of parked cars. By now, you've seen all of the videos. I could play them for you, but you've seen all of the videos. And she was dead. Emergency services were called. Witnesses stood around. And now you've got a 6-year-old that's an orphan. And none of this had to happen if lawmakers would simply remind their constituents, and I'm talking about Democrats, remind their constituents that while you have every right to protest and you have every right to petition your government for a redress of grievances, and you have every right to go to your local city councilors or your county commissioners or your state officials or your federal officials and demand better. If you want change, you can demand change. You don't have a right to impede traffic, to stop on the roadway, to stop law enforcement from doing their jobs that they are not only legally responsible for doing, they're obligated to do it. Chris has a thought on it. Hello, Chris. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. I just wanted to say, whether she was trying to run him over or escape, the problem is that so many people are conned into doing the dirty work that others don't want to do anymore. They're conned into saying there's no consequence. Go do this. You'll make a difference. Whether it's on a hit page for a community or a politician telling them or any of their friends telling them, they feel like they're important by going out and trying to make this difference. But they take it to an extreme that the consequence just is not told to them. You can lose your life. You can go to prison. Your entire life will change the second you get involved to that extreme. And that's all I got to say about it. I feel sorry for the officer. I feel sorry for her family. I feel sorry for everybody that was there because it's a very traumatic thing. And I'll hang up and listen.
You know, you bring up an excellent point, and thank you, Chris, for the call. You know who is indirectly to blame for this? Afton Bay. You know who else is indirectly responsible for this? I forget that lady's name up in New Jersey, the one that tried to get inside of an ICE detention facility because she's a lawmaker and pretended like she has some sort of special right to walk into to walk into an operation like that, a detention facility like that, and she was disabused of that notion quite quickly. But indirectly, Afton Bain is responsible. And here's what I mean. People that don't know that Afton Bain is an absolute idiot, and I say that knowing Afton, and Afton's welcome to come on this show anytime she wants to defend herself, but let me put it a different way. I don't want to call names. I don't want to do it that way. I'm going to take that back. Let's take the idiot off the table. Most people, or many people who are aware of Afton, do not recognize that she's hopelessly naive with regard to the ways of the world. She has been mollycoddled for most of her life, for all of her life, and she doesn't really understand how the real world works, in my opinion. And here she is. Remember when ICE was in Nashville? And remember when ICE was engaged in operations, legal operations with the Tennessee Highway Patrol? And remember that Afton Bain was running around doing videos and and she thought it was so cute that we're trying to bully ICE and ha, and it's so funny. Those types of actions embolden people, sadly, like Renee Good. And Renee Good says, well, if Afton Bain can do it, why can't I do it? If a representative down in Nashville is doing this sort of thing, I need to take action and I need to do this sort of thing too. Sadly, Afton Bain was not arrested. Probably should have been. She backed off before she was. Smart enough to do that, I suppose. Renee Good is emboldened by the words and actions of lawmakers, and she believes that not only is her cause just, but that it's legal. It is not. When did protest become unlawful activity in a way that endangers law enforcement officers, endangers the average citizens of any given community, and ultimately led to the loss of life of a citizen and mother? 615-737-9986, 55 after on Super Talk. Hello, friends. You take a short drive up to Hendersonville, Tennessee. You get on Vietnam Veterans Parkway, and you get off on New Shackle Island Road. You take a left, and right down on the left, you'll find Volunteer Outfitters. Tommy and his team want to serve you. Friends, they got great deals, and we're down the road from all of those high prices. I'm talking Drake, Huck, Aftco, Orca, Extra Tough boots, and much, much more. It's every outdoorsman's favorite place to shop. From golfing attire to hunting attire, button-downs. I mean, they've got nice clothing for any occasion. They've got seasonal items and hunting gear galore. They're open 10 to 5 Tuesday through Thursday, 10 to 6 on Friday. Don't forget about Tuesdays is T-shirt Tuesday. Any purchase gets you a free T-shirt on Tuesdays, and these are quality items. Friends, if you have any person in your life that needs to be outfitted with hunting attire, you need to get to Volunteer Outfitters. The Outdoorsman's Shop is in Hendersonville. Give them a call at 615-431-0824 or stop by and see them on New Shackle Island Road. It's Volunteer Outfitters.
5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast traffic updates in 5 minutes. Bracing for protests tonight in Minneapolis. Governor Tim Walz has activated the National Guard to assist local police in maintaining order after that deadly ICE shooting sparked outrage. Meanwhile, the woman who was killed has been identified as 37-year-old Renee Good. And according to the New York Post, Good was active in an anti-ICE group called ICE Watch, which trains members to resist immigration raids. She was also deeply involved in social justice efforts through her child's charter school. Vice President J.D. Vance joined today's White House press briefing and was asked about the FBI leaving Minnesota's state investigators out of the deadly ICE-involved shooting.
You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job. The idea that Tim Walz and a bunch of radicals in Minneapolis are going to go after and make this guy's life miserable because he was doing the job that he was asked to do is preposterous.
Yeah, the FBI is not sharing information with Minnesota investigators. They are not required to by law. And the Senate voting today to advance a resolution that restricts President Trump's power to take military action in Venezuela. It might not have a chance in the House, but in the Senate, 5 Republicans voted with Democrats. Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Rand Paul, Josh Hawley, and Todd Young. Trump then posted to Truth Social, these 5 should never be elected to office again. And over in the House, Speaker Johnson.
On this vote, the yeas are 230, the nays are 196. The bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
About a dozen Republicans joined Democrats in passing a measure in the House to extend Affordable Care Act to subsidies that expired at the end of 2025. Grok, Elon Musk's AI tool attached to his X social media platform, coming under fire in multiple countries for generating fake, explicit photographs of people. Women have been coming forward to say that explicit images of themselves without their knowledge have been showing up online. We get more from ABC's Mike Dubusky.
If there is a sort of global takedown of Grok, that would be a really big effort, right? That would require the coordination of governments around the world. At the same time, this is a pretty easy issue to agree on, right? Like, child sexual abuse material is criminalized around the world. It's one of the few sort of unifying themes of like the global law order. So that is a potential, avenue that they could go down.
The British government, one of several countries moving forward with legal action. And that's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we picked up a crash in Glencliff. The left shoulder block, 24 eastbound, just past Briley Parkway. Got a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder, 65 southbound near Paytonsville Road, Goose Creek bypass, exit 61. In Hermitage, Old Hickory Boulevard, just north of Central Pike. Got a crash there. Same thing in Jolton, Clarksville Pike, just north of Old Hickory Boulevard. And if you're eastbound 440 to get to 24, it is complete. Stop and go. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN as I come on the radio in the third hour of the program, 7 minutes after 5 o'clock. Hello, by the way. My name is Matt Murphy, and I'm proud to be with you. We're here till 7 o'clock tonight on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You can find us on a variety of different platforms. TuneIn, Spotify, iHeart, to name a few apps where we are. You can also download our own and take us wherever you want to go at Super Talk 99.7 WTN, your app store of your choosing, and there you go. You can also find us on 99.7 FM on your radio dial. That's the old school way of doing things. And then there's Talk TV. For you masochists in the listening audience and want to watch the show, go to Super Talk TV at YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or Rumble. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or Rumble. And hello. Welcome to the broadcast. Thank you. Give us the old thumb. Would you give us the old thumbs up, if you don't mind? Hands always talking about the old. You know what it cost you to give the thumbs up? Ken, what does it cost in these days to give the thumbs up?
Absolutely nothing, yes.
Nothing. The man said nothing. He could have said $100.
Just your pride.
He could have said $500. But he didn't. He said absolutely nothing. And that, my friends, is why you should give us the old thumbs up. At least that's one of the reasons. Yeah, but the last thing I heard before I started hour number 3 of the radio program was Jackson screaming about some quarterback that Tennessee got. What are you talking about?
We haven't gotten him yet. Don't jinx it. Top quarterback in the portal is currently in Knoxville.
Is he now?
He is. Sam Leavitt.
What's his name?
Sam Leavitt.
Uh-huh. Where's he from?
Arizona State.
Oh, well.
He'd look real good in the orange and white.
Y'all get him. Get him. We don't play y'all next year. I don't care. Get him.
Yeah, we don't play. We don't play Tennessee either.
Hey, look, we might play in the SEC championship because we're SEC champions 2 years running. So y'all probably see us there.
That's done so much for you in the playoffs. What are y'all?
Yeah, some of us have been in the playoffs. Have y'all?
Yes.
I mean, do you want to play this game?
We've been in the playoffs
in the last year.
In the last 2 years, yes. In last year, in 2024. Tennessee was in the CFP.
Last year was 2025.
No, that is this year's playoff. We did not make the playoffs this year, but we made it last year.
This is 2026, Jack.
But this is still the 2025 season.
Well, I know you're bitter about how last year ended up, and you're a little janked up because of all of that. And I know that Illinois defeat is still rubbing you raw over there. You'll probably get this fine quarterback, and we'll see you in the SEC championship. There was a time, Jackson, not too long ago, when SEC championships meant something. Yeah, you just swig on that water, buddy boy. I'm going to talk to Senator Jack Johnson. Senator Johnson has no time for this frivolity. We've got to get down to business because we're getting to the business of the General Assembly come next week. Wanted to talk to him a little bit about that, amongst other things. Jack, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Matt. I was enjoying the football conversation. Y'all could keep talking about that if you want. It was very entertaining. And congratulations on the new Murphy Manor down in Murray County.
Well, look, I think it's unofficially being called Murph-a-Lago. I think that's what we're going with. That was apparently Dan and Jay Harper and Chris Hand on Nashville's Morning News this morning designated my new house Murphy-Lago. I'll go with it. That's fine.
I love it.
Look,
the only thing that would make it better is if it were in Williamson County.
Well, I mean, look, Jack, if I could afford Williamson County, I'd be there. But you know how it goes, brother.
Well, Murray is wonderful. Murray County is outstanding. It's a beautiful county.
Well, I'm just happy to be here for the duration. I'm here for the long term now, whether folks like it or not, whether liberals like it or not. And I'm glad to have you on because, I mean, it feels like this happens every year, at least since I've been in Tennessee, where you got the holidays and we're having a good time and we're having a fun old time. And then here comes January and boom, here comes the General Assembly. It's next week, man.
It is on Tuesday. Pursuant to the Tennessee Constitution, the gavel will drop at 12 noon on the second Tuesday in January. That falls on January 13th, which is this coming Tuesday. So 12 noon, we'll be off to the races, taking care of the people's business. We'll be efficient. We'll be in and out, get a budget passed, a balanced budget, get the people's business done, and get back to our jobs and our families and our communities.
So a number of ways that I want to kind of dice this up, but I want to start here and just remind people, you and I talked about this the last time you were on, but several of my Second Amendment friends have asked me about this on a number of occasions, but you feel like the General Assembly is going to address the issue of constitutional carry this session, correct?
I do. It's somewhat, there's some legal terminology there, and it's something we've been talking about for some time as to how our gun laws are worded in the statute. And effectively, I'm oversimplifying here. My lawyer friends would probably get mad at me, but effectively in Tennessee, the statute reads, it is illegal to go armed or to have the intent to go armed unless you meet certain qualifications. You have a handgun carry permit, or now that we have permitless carry, if you're 21 years old and in legal possession of the weapon, then you have an exception to that prohibition. We need to reverse that and just state more clearly that it, in fact, in Tennessee is legal to go armed or to have the intent to go armed unless you're a felon, and then have the exceptions for the prohibitions.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then there are some other aspects that we need to address in that statute as well. And so I do think that our Judiciary Committee is going to take a look at that this year. And there's a lawsuit as well that came down recently that further compels us to address that. So I'm confident we'll take a look at it.
Other than the budgets, what do you consider to be, I mean, I don't want you to pick your favorite baby, but is there a priority in your mind for what you would like to see accomplished in the regular session?
Well, and you mentioned the budget, and obviously I always say that's the most important thing we do. And in fact, the only thing we are constitutionally required to do is to pass a budget, decide how to spend your tax dollars, how many of your tax dollars we need. I'm always proud to say Tennessee is the second or third lowest tax state, depending on how you measure it. We're the least indebted state. And so, and consistently rated as the best fiscally managed state in America. We want to keep it that way. But beyond that, I just think, Matt, we have a unique opportunity now, and we've been building on this. We'll continue to build on it from last year's session relative to illegal immigration. Now that we have a president in Donald Trump, we have a Department of ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, under the Department of Homeland Security that is doing its job. We have a once-in-a-generation opportunity, and hopefully it will continue into the next administration and beyond President Trump's current term, but to get these violent illegal immigrants out of our communities. And we did a lot this past session. I think we're going to build on that in the upcoming session. I've filed a bill relative to local law enforcement. In Tennessee, we do not allow local communities to be sanctuary cities. A lot of the what you're seeing in Minnesota and California and other states and other cities, blue cities, these are cities where they have literally made it illegal for local law enforcement to cooperate with ICE. And that's leading to some of the horrific things that we've been seeing in recent days and some of the tragedies we've been seeing. In Tennessee, that's not an issue. In Tennessee, we do have cooperative local law enforcement. And but we want to make sure that those who are opposed to whatever ICE is doing are not going to threaten ICE officials or our local law enforcement. I've got a bill relative to doxing or revealing the identities of those people who are doing those types of things. We have a bill that's going to take effect. We've already passed it, but it took effect on January 1 relative to the driver's licenses we issue in Tennessee. If you're in the country illegally, you cannot get a Tennessee driver's license, even though some states do give driver's licenses to those who are in the country illegally. We don't do that in Tennessee, but if you're in the country legally and you can get a driver's license, we want that to be distinctive from those who are U.S. citizens so that it can't be used to vote. So I think with my colleagues, the fight against illegal immigration continues to be a huge priority, and we just want to make the most out of everything that our president is doing.
You know, I'm not asking you to point fingers directly at any of your colleagues in the General Assembly, but just before you came on, you mentioned doing more to protect our immigration and customs enforcement agents who are working in the state of Tennessee to protect local law enforcement, state law enforcement. And obviously you alluded to what happened in Minneapolis yesterday morning. What's your message to the citizenry? And I alluded to the fact that we had representatives who were bragging on social media platforms about trying to, quote unquote, bully ICE. Thankfully, they did not go so far as to impede the flow of ICE traffic. Sadly, that's what happened yesterday morning. And then this woman apparently attempted to use her vehicle as a weapon, and sadly she was killed as a result. But what is your message to the citizens of Tennessee, especially those? Look, I understand that there's some passionate people that disagree with Donald Trump, disagree with what I consider to be common sense in terms of law enforcement, but that unfortunately has led to people doing crazy things and breaking the law in the name of what they consider to be social justice, and they're just endangering themselves and obviously endangering other citizens.
Yeah, they are mad, and it's a terrible tragedy what happened, and it saddens me that someone lost their life. And my message, to answer your question specifically, look, we all have a First Amendment right to protest our government and protest law enforcement if you want to. If someone wants to stand on a street corner, down the street, away from where that law enforcement activity is taking place, and hold a sign and say, "We don't like what you're doing," and protest and say what you want to say, that is certainly protected by our Constitution. But our Constitution does not protect you if you want to go and thwart and interfere with legitimate lawful activity that law enforcement is conducting. Don't do that. That's not going to end well. It puts the law enforcement officers, the brave men and women who are doing their jobs. They're doing their jobs as they are ordered to do by their commanding officers. And you shouldn't be impeding what they're trying to do. Protest if you want to protest, but do not interfere. And by all means, if you do have an encounter with a law enforcement official, just do what they say. Do what they say, and cooperate and comply with what the law enforcement officer tells you to do. And if there's an issue and there's a problem, then take it up. Go talk to their superior at a later point. But when that interaction is taking place, just please do what the law enforcement officer says. It breaks my heart to see these incidents where law enforcement officers are issuing a lawful command. You may not like it. You may not like their tone of voice, but it is a lawful order, and just comply. And if there's a matter to be taken up later, that's fine. But I'm just so sad and tired of seeing people get hurt and killed, both law enforcement and people who are interacting with law enforcement. And one more thing, if I could say, Matt, there are millions of law enforcement interactions that take place every day.
Yep.
Every day.
Yep. From
traffic stops, and 99.99999% of those are conducted with, somebody, you may walk away mad because you got a speeding ticket or whatever happened. But that's why we have courts to take up those matters. But those incidents that sadly result in someone getting hurt, it breaks my heart. So please just comply with law enforcement.
By the way, law enforcement shootings have gone down significantly. The vast majority of them every year are legal. And they are justified, but they're going down because law enforcement, they do their very dead level best in attempting to figure out a way out of a circumstance, a situation, without having to use deadly force. But sadly, on occasion, they have to do so to protect themselves and to protect the community at large. Speaking of law enforcement, Jack, the other day, I was off yesterday to close on my house, but 2 days ago, we had a lengthy discussion about new data showing that 419 individuals were arrested for DUI that ultimately it turned out that their blood tests were negative. It was found that they did not have alcohol or any identifiable drugs within their system after their DUI arrest. And I know that it was it was something that you in the General Assembly, you allowed for the providing of this data. Now we're starting to get some of this data in. And I'm not pointing fingers at any entity or operation, but I am suggesting that 419 in one calendar year feels like too many, that there's more than one individual arrested on a daily basis in the state of Tennessee where ultimately they're found to not have been under any intoxicating elements. But that happens way past oftentimes their court date. Obviously, their lives are, turned upside down. Now, law enforcement have a very difficult task in finding those that are inebriated, finding those that are under drugs or in some sort of intoxicating element. I want them off the streets. I want them to be able to do their jobs. But have you noticed this at the General Assembly? And is there some way to get more funding to the TBI or whatever organizations are in charge of doing these blood samples so that we can get these back quicker? Because we're told that it's 6 to 8 months in a lot of cases.
Matt, I couldn't agree with you more. And I heard a good bit of that conversation, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. You're right. It's one of the reasons we ask for this data. And I think that's important for us to do, is to monitor these types of, because the data is there, it's being recorded. And look, one of the points that was made, I guess the day before yesterday when you guys were talking about this, that I completely agree with. This is 2026 now. Technology is such that we should be able to get this information, if not immediately, certainly within a very, very short period of time, to make a determination if charges need to be pursued. It's unacceptable that it's taking that long. And so I'm absolutely certain that when we convene next week, that one of the matters that we'll be taking up is, do we need to appropriate more money? Do we need to get better resources? Let's look to other states at what kind of technology that they're using to make a determination in a very reasonable, very quick period of time, whether or not someone is intoxicated and should actually be charged with driving under the influence. So it's one of the reasons periodically we ask for this data, because when we recognize a problem in Tennessee, we're going to address it.
Senator Jack Johnson, Senate Majority Leader, is with us for 1 or 2 more minutes. Jack, one final question from me, and it involves a story that's been making the rounds on a lot of local media sources, a lot of television sources. I guess the Tennessean had an article about it as well, that apparently as of January 1st, Governor Bill Lee declined to secure federal money, millions of dollars in federal funding to provide food to kids in the summer eating program. Apparently this is called Sunbucks. It is a summer EBT program, $84 million from the federal government. I have my thoughts on this, but several listeners have asked, well, why did the governor decide not to pursue that funding? Any idea why that was?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've seen some of the news reporting on it as well. First of all, you need some historical context here. This is actually a program that was put into place during COVID, early in the Biden administration, and it was a direct payment out to families who had school-aged children. And it went directly out through EBT cards to those families who are either on SNAP benefits or TANF benefits, out to those particular families. We recognize, Matt, that there are families who, and sadly, there are kids that sometimes the one meal they get, a decent meal that they get is lunch at school, maybe breakfast as well. And when they're not in school and they're home for the summer, they don't have access to food. Now, these are families that are already on some type of public assistance program. But what is not being reported is the fact that we already have a couple of state programs that are in effect and have been for some period of time. We have a summer meal program where families can go to the local school, even though that school is not in session, and have access to food. We have other direct payment programs that are going to families that need that additional assistance to have access to food. Tennessee is doing a good bit. This is another federal government program that was supposedly temporary because of COVID, and then the Biden administration decided to make it permanent. But states do have the right to opt in or out of the program. You should also know that it would cost the state of Tennessee about $6 million a year to administer this program, and that's coming directly out of the pockets of taxpayers. This is an example of a program that the federal government is trying to impose on the state. We are doing other things that are far more effective to take care of those needy families. And we will continue to do so, and we'll make sure that those programs that we're administering that have no federal ties, that don't involve federal money, are being administered effectively, and that families that really do need that help are getting that assistance.
Great response, Jack. Always a pleasure to talk with you. We look forward to many conversations during the General Assembly and beyond. Good luck as you get the session started next Tuesday, and we'll talk to you again next time.
Great. Thanks, Matt.
All right,
Happy
take
New
care.
Year.
Happy New Year to you. There's Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson, 25 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know, I mentioned this brand new HydroWave technology. The HydroWave technology is available only at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, exclusively. They're the first and only office to have it. What is it? It's stimulation of the stem cell for cellular healing, repair, and restoration with no surgery, no needles, no injections, and no downtime. That's what it's all about. The Wellness Institute of Nashville is always advancing the technology to make you feel better. And now Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley have done it again. They have the newest and greatest healing machine, and you can start the new year by healing you. And new in 2026, a very special 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression for the new year, or decompression of any body part that they decompress. 47% off. I think that might have a little something to do with the 47th president of the United States of America. If you have back pain, neck pain, sciatica, a slipped or bulging disc, wherever it hurts, they can help alleviate that pain in 2026. Don't spend another year in pain. Let's go to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Go to painisbad.com, painisbad.com, or call 615-246-5009, 246-5009 for the Wellness Institute of Nashville.
5:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Security tightening in Minneapolis tonight. Governor Tim Walz has called up the National Guard to back up city police as protests grow over the fatal ICE shooting. The New York Post is reporting the woman killed, 37-year-old Renee Good, was part of an activist network called ICE Watch. The group reportedly trains members to respond to immigration enforcement actions. Good was also known for her work in social justice circles tied to her child's charter school. And Vice President J.D. Vance joined today's White House press conference to say the media is misrepresenting the ICE agent and this woman.
Because this was an attack on federal law enforcement. This was an attack on law and order. This was an attack on the American people. The way that the media, by and large, has reported this story has been an absolute disgrace, and it puts our law enforcement officers at risk every single day.
Meanwhile, the FBI not sharing information on the case with Minnesota investigators, and they are not required to by law. Vice President Vance announced a new federal multi-state fraud task force after uncovering massive child care fraud in Minnesota.
As we are creating a new assistant attorney general position who will have nationwide jurisdiction over the issue of fraud. Now, of course, that person's efforts will start and focus primarily in Minnesota, but it is going to be a nationwide effort because, unfortunately, the American people have been defrauded in a very nationwide way.
And he said no state is off the table. The Senate has voted 52-47 to move forward on a resolution that would prevent the further use of U.S. military action in Venezuela without congressional approval. 5 Republicans voted with Democrats Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Rand Paul, Josh Hawley, and Todd Young. And Speaker Mike Johnson reacting to the House passing legislation that extends the Affordable Care Act health insurance subsidies for another 3 years.
I think it's a really bad policy, and, I wish they hadn't, but everybody had to vote their conscience.
Yeah, 11 Republicans broke with the party to vote with Democrats in favor of that bill. Next up is the Senate. And that's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Eastbound 24 is like a parking lot because of that crash at Briley Parkway, exit 54. The crash is off on the right shoulder, but you got to get over for the first responders. Then in Murfreesboro, injury crash 24 eastbound before I-840. Here in Hermitage, got a crash, Old Hickory Boulevard, just north of Central Pike. And in Bellevue, a crash reported 70 south, just west of Sawyer Brown Road. Eastbound 40 is complete stop and go over to the Eastern Split. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Oh, yes. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Happy to have you. Thank you for being with us. I just got a very, very special message. A very special. I'm meeting all of my new best friends in my new hometown of Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant, Venezuela?
It's not in Venezuela. It's
close
right,
enough.
It's just south of Colombia. It's not much further than where you live.
Mount Pleasant, Venezuela. Yeah, it's right just south of Colombia.
Not in Venezuela. That is the beating heart of this state, my friend. You think the beating heart of this state's over there in Davidson County? I don't think so, pal. There's the nasty blue stain on this state's where you live. I live in the ruby red beating heart of Tennessee. Thank you, Ken. Ken does too, by the way. Murfreesboro. Murfreesboro is like the liver of Tennessee.
It's the backbone of the working man and woman.
That's what we're talking about. Not that blue county trash.
I think you both live in the colon of Tennessee.
Hey, who won Nincompoops yesterday, by the way?
We'll find out. I did.
What do you mean? What?
Jackson. We'll find out. I did.
All right, hit the music because we need to talk about this.
Nincompoops in the news.
Speaking of nincompoops, I get this a lot, and I don't know what we can do about it, guys. 8355 says, "Hey Matt, listening to you guys on iHeartRadio again today. 5 minutes of ads, all but one Navy Reserve ad being Super Talk ads. Love you guys, but the announcer's voice is about to drive me nuts." James from SC. SC. What do you think SC stands for?
South Carolina.
So you think it's South Carolina, Ken?
I think so.
Could be Southern California.
Could be Southern California.
Could be South Columbia, Tennessee. You know, you never know. But I'm with you. I'm guessing South Carolina. Hey, James, I apologize for it. We'll send it to the authorities that can perhaps do something about it. Speaking of an authoritative voice and vote. So, Jackson, we've got the big trophy.
Yes.
You know, the Wellness Institute of Nashville provided us a Nincompoops in the News trophy that we award weekly on this radio show.
Let me get it.
Ken Weaver is the current winner, and he currently has possession of said trophy. Beautiful trophy, beautiful crown.
Trophy.
It's got a nice crown to it. And if Ken holds on to that thing much longer, he's just going to permanently attach his little mini pocket-sized Ken Weaver Gumby onto the trophy, too.
Yeah.
Well, much like some... I'm just going to take everything off that he puts on that trophy when I get it.
Oh, are you? So who won yesterday, Jackson?
I believe I did.
See, that's the way he said. See, Ken, when you were doing the news, the real news, I said, Jackson, I wasn't here yesterday. Who won Nincompoops? And he said, I think I did. I said, what do you mean you think you did?
I looked right after the segment, and I was in the lead.
Jackson, there's two avenues for me to go down here. Number one.
Here is my proposition. No, I have a proposition.
Okay.
I say yesterday was a exhibition, but I get to go first. I don't get the win. I don't get the point, but I do get the ball.
So what you're saying is y'all are still 1-1.
Yes. The standings do not change. I will concede that point.
Okay.
But I will go first.
I am taking this under advisement mainly because of what I was about to say is the strong point in what's happening here is that I appreciate your honesty. You could have easily said, yes, Matt, I diligently counted up the votes yesterday on the Super Text line, and I was the winner. I appreciate the fact that you're honest and you said that you don't really damn know. I mean, which is the truth, right? You don't know.
I think I won. I would say I'm 75% sure I won. But that 25%
would go to Ken Weaver, I would bet.
Yeah, Cam. 23. I'd give Cam 2%.
Mr. Weaver?
Yes, sir.
Are you willing to accept the terms offered by Mr. Jackson regarding your current tied status for the weekly Nincompoops in the News?
Yes, sir. I will accept Brother Jackson's admission, if you will.
That's what I feel like it was, Ken, an admission. That's correct. Because, Jackson, when I'm away, you're in charge of counting the votes, man.
I thought when you were away, it didn't count.
Okay, well, that can be the case, too.
Yeah, that's because, I mean, remember last week, none of them counted.
Well,
mainly because it was just Ken.
Well,
That's why I've had it for 3 weeks.
I know. Ken he's going to start taking the trophy home with it, for goodness sake. He's had it for so long. All right, so that's very good. Now, I could win today and tomorrow, and I could just take the trophy on my own.
Take it down to Venezuela.
Venezuela. It's Murray County. It's just right over there. Just right over there. It's just right down the road.
Way over there.
It's just right down the road. We will allow you to go first, Jackson. Hit it.
All right, Madison Police Department searching for naked man accused of trying to open car doors and pleasuring himself.
Goodness.
Jackson.
The Madison Police Department is searching for a man they say was walking around naked and trying to open car doors. MPD stated that a couple and their young child were sleeping in their car on Christmas Eve morning in a parking lot on the city's east side when they awoke to find a naked man trying to get into their car. The couple got out of the car and discovered that the man was pleasuring himself. When confronted, police said the man allegedly physically attacked the husband. The couple then got back in the car and drove to a safe location before calling police, to whom they gave a detailed description of the suspect. The husband was taken to a local hospital for injuries he suffered in the attack. Later that morning, around 8:30 a.m., police received a call from another resident of a nearby neighborhood reporting that a naked man was attempting to break into their car. When the resident shared security video with police, officials say the man matched the description given to them by the couple. No arrests have been made, and Madison PD is asking for the public's help in identifying the suspect.
Hard to break into cars with one hand. Just gonna let that one sit there. I mean, it is.
What are you doing? Y'all think drugs are involved?
Something was involved.
Is this Madison, Wisconsin?
Yes, sir. It's got to be cold, too.
Well, it's sad, too. The couple
Cold?
sleeping in the car with their kids?
Yeah, that's a sad aspect of the story, which really takes away from the story as a nincompoop story, if you want to know the
This
truth.
guy is a nincompoop, and I stand on it.
Well, he is a nincompoop.
Anyone doing this behavior.
Nincompoopery. Agreed. By the way, you're a nincompoop, Jackson, because as 1024 notes, Matt asked you to do one thing to remind him after 4 o'clock. And guess what you haven't done, Jackson?
Hey, you need to talk about
Mama Lisa.
Mama Lisa.
That's right. Mama Lisa.
Go ahead and do that before you hit your nincompoop.
Yeah, who does not listen until after 4 o'clock, and her husband, Daryl, who does listen to the entire show from 3 until 7. My new BFFs in Mount Pleasant, Tennessee. And we thank you guys for listening. And it was a pleasure to meet you. We took a selfie together.
All right.
Mama Lisa and I.
Did you post it yet?
And Crystal, well, she didn't. It was on her phone, and she has not sent it to me.
Oh, okay.
So I'll need to get a hold of that so we can put it up. All right, mine. I've got to be careful. I don't just blurt things out like pleasuring himself on my nincompoop stories. I try to navigate around it. I try to navigate around those types of things.
This news story used the scientific word, and I didn't feel like using that.
Oh yeah. Good
call. I don't like saying that into a microphone.
Yeah, it's a good call. Not one, here's my nincompoop story, not one but 2 letters have been sent from the Pentagon to a Toronto-based sex toy store found inside of the boxes of returned adult items that had somehow made their way to a U.S. naval base in Bahrain.
Returned items?
Returned items, Ken Weaver. The letters were received over the span of about a month over the summer, according to Bonjibon co-founder Grace Bennett. We didn't even know the product was going to Bahrain until it came back to us months later, she said. It just kind of unraveled this whole hilarious moment. The online sexual wellness store shipped worldwide when they first launched in 2019, but Bennett says they now mostly service Canada, the United States, South America, Europe, and Asia. Good Lord, that sounds worldwide to me, doesn't it?
Goodness. Yeah.
Due to various laws and regulations about what items can be imported into certain countries, including Bahrain. You know, it's not permissible to have those types of things in certain Middle Eastern countries. Bonjibon also frequently ships to military bases. And Bennett says the suspects she says she suspects the packages were likely forwarded to someone stationed in Bahrain since her company does not ship directly to Bahrain. This past year has posed a particular challenge for her business thanks to the tariffs presented by U.S. President Donald J. Trump. Apparently, we are tariffing foreign-made sex toys. All right, that's another reason to love our 47th President of the United States of America. If you're going to buy a sex toy, ladies and gentlemen, buy American.
American made.
Make sure it says right there on the base. Make sure it says
Made in the U.S. of A.
Made in the USA.
I don't know. I've never heard of a factory of these kind of instruments.
Well, with tariffs, you will.
Mm-hmm. According to the owners of this operation out of Toronto, the imposed tariffs are causing some of their business from the United States of America to go downhill. Because of that, Bennett says the items were being held at the border or returned to Bungie Bond's warehouse. On one of the days combing through returned parcels, her warehouse manager noticed that the boxes had obviously been opened and the sanitary seals had been broken. The contents were placed back haphazardly inside, and a letter. I could tell you what these are, but I'm not going to. You can imagine.
Yeah.
You can use your imagination. The U.S. Department of Defense has since renamed the U.S. Department of War. Sent a letter to this business stating, during security screening by Bahrain Customs, pornographic material and other devices were discovered in a package addressed to you. This letter is to notify you your parcel has been returned to the sender. So, note to self, do not send adult-themed items to individuals stationed overseas, for they might be in an area of the world that does not appreciate them. I consider everyone involved in this, including the President of the United States, to be an input.
Who ordered them?
It was a member of our United States military who was stationed in Bahrain. And apparently they might have gotten moved because it was originally shipped to a different location, but then those items were forwarded to their post in Bahrain.
And these were confiscated?
And these were confiscated. These items, these are, yes. I'm going to try to not do a double entendre here, but yeah.
Don't want to get in trouble, Brother Murphy.
These items were placed in the rear to be returned.
Would you say the customs agent nipped that in the butt?
I mean, I could call them buttholes for returning these items, but I won't.
Real stinky move.
Nincompoops is what they were. Ken, you're a nincompoop, sir.
This is out of New Zealand, boys. A news outfit by the name of RZN. Happened right before the new year. Man impersonating police accidentally pulls over cop car.
Uh-oh.
A man driving a car equipped with flashing police lights pulled over the wrong vehicle in South Auckland on Saturday night. Two officers driving an unmarked police car were puzzled when a station wagon following them turned on a set of red and blue lights, indicating they should pull over. Inspector Kerry Watson is quoted as saying, "Our officers were perplexed, quickly clocked the car as not police official." I don't know if that's a New Zealand accent. When the legitimate officers stopped their vehicle, the man in the station wagon quickly realized he was facing the real McCoy and unsuccessfully tried to run away. It's bad enough that this person thought it was okay to impersonate a police car, Watson said. It's even worse to see impaired and dangerous driving. The 38-year-old due to appear in court, charged with impersonating a police officer and, here's how they put it over there in New Zealand, excess breath alcohol.
Oh.
He apparently was 2 times the legal limit there for New Zealand.
Excess breath alcohol.
Right.
Huh. That's an odd way of putting it.
Apparently, impersonating police or representing a vehicle as a police vehicle is an offense under the Policing Act that was passed in New Zealand in 2008.
Wait, so it wasn't,
Yeah,
it
so I could
wasn't
pull over a
illegal
cop?
before 2008?
Yeah, apparently they had a rash of it, and lawmakers decided to do something about it.
They had
Not a hell of a lot of people in New Zealand, are there? How many people do you think is in New Zealand? I'm going to say.
I don't know.
I'm going to say 2 million.
2 million?
I'm going to say 2 million. I'm going to look it up.
Isn't that where your new house is?
It's not that far. You're coming to my home. Once we get moved in. If you're willing, I'll float you a couple bucks for gas money.
How long's the flight?
No flight. You just go down 65 and take a right. Before you know it, you're there. New Zealand. Oh, look, it says New Zealand accent. My phone must have been listening to you. New Zealand population. I missed it. New Zealand's population is around 5.3 to 5.4 million.
Well, I'll be.
It's more
That's a lot of people. I wonder how many were pulling over cops.
Apparently a lot of them. Yeah, New Zealand, where the men are men and the sheep are nervous.
This fella had clothes on, too.
You know, Ken, I'm proud of you. I think people should vote for you for that reason alone.
Vote for me.
Because he wasn't naked.
Because he wasn't naked. That's a rarity in Ken Weaver's Nincompoop stories. There you go. You can vote for myself, Bahrain Sex Toys. You can vote for Jackson. I've already forgotten his story. Or Ken Weaver, current champion of Nincompoops in the News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
My story was the naked guy breaking into cars and doing things to himself.
Well, you know, not much else to do in Wisconsin, quite frankly.
Especially in the winter.
Especially in the winter.
I bet it was cold.
It gets dark very early, and I bet it was cold. It's 53 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm going to get to talking about Eurofix in a moment, but you need to check the 4460 on the super text line. Little ammo for you, Y2J. Eurofix, friends, Eurofix is simply the best when it comes to fixing European automobiles, and they've proven it time and again for now 26 straight years. They've been growing by leaps and bounds, and they get it, folks. They understand how to fix your automobile with the best and the brightest. Eurofix understands that a decent technician will make about $50,000 a year, but they don't stop there. They want the best of the best. That's why they pay their technicians even more than decent, even more than the best of the best. They pay the best amounts around because they want to attract the best technicians, the best mechanics in Nashville, in Tennessee. Friends, bottom line is this. Just because they're paying more doesn't mean you have to pay more because they keep overhead low. That means that they're still below dealer pricing. Eurofix is open Monday through Friday. European vehicles are fixed at below dealer pricing with a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all repairs that Eurofix performs. Plus, a rental car is available with every appointment at Eurofix. 5 locations. Call them today, 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX or online at myeurofix.com.
6 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Minneapolis is bracing for protests after a deadly ICE shooting there yesterday. Governor Tim Walz authorizing the National Guard to support police efforts to keep the peace. Meanwhile, the New York Post identifies the woman killed as 37-year-old Renee Good. And they say they have exclusive information that she was part of a group known as ICE Watch that teaches resistance to immigration raids. Good was also engaged, according to the New York Post, in social justice activism through her child's charter school. And Vice President J.D. Vance joined today's White House press briefing and weighed in on the deadly shooting.
What you see is what you get in this case. You have a woman who was trying to obstruct a legitimate law enforcement operation. Nobody debates that. You have a woman who aimed her car at a law enforcement officer and pressed on the accelerator. Nobody debates that. I can believe that her death is a tragedy while also recognizing that it's a tragedy of her own making.
Governor Walz.
Minnesotans will tell her life story. Minnesotans will be there to defend her honor and see this as a human being, not a moment in time.
Meanwhile, the FBI not sharing information about the case with Minnesota investigators, and they're not required to by law. Over in the U.S. House.
The People's House has just delivered a decisive victory for the American people.
That's Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries after a vote of 230 to 196 to extend Affordable Care Act subsidies for another 3 years. There were 17 Republicans who voted with all House Democrats on the bill. The measure now supposed to go to the Senate, but Majority Leader John Thune has said there's no appetite for an extension in the chamber, so its passage is unlikely. And even if it does pass, President Trump has said he won't sign the bill. The Senate advanced a war powers resolution aimed at limiting President Trump's ability to use military force in Venezuela without congressional approval. 5 Republicans joined Democrats to pass that. President Trump posted to Truth Social those senators, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Rand Paul, Josh Lawley, and Todd Young, should never be elected to office again. And in money news, in a post on social media, President Trump promises to bring down home prices by going after corporate investors. Senate Democrats say they pitched the same plan last year, but Republicans blocked it. Here's ABC's Hannah Battah.
Trump announcing plans to ban institutional investors from snatching up real estate and driving up housing prices, saying for a very long time, buying and owning a home was considered the pinnacle of the American dream. That American dream is increasingly out of reach for far too many people. Wall Street said to be blindsided by Trump's move. Companies like Blackstone and other major landlords seeing their stock prices drop. Trump pushing Congress to approve the ban, saying people live in homes, not corporations.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, Woodbine, we've got a crash. It is 24 eastbound right there at I-440. Then in Bellevue, police still working a wreck, Highway 70 south just west of Sawyer Brown Road. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you for being a part of the show tonight. It is 6 minutes after 6 o'clock. My name is Matt Murphy. Happy Thursday to you. Hope your day's gone well so far. It is episode 953 of our gatherings together on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is also day 353 of Donald Trump's second term as president of the United States of America. That's out of a 1,460.5 total. So we got a long way to go before Donald Trump goes quietly into that good night or loudly into that good night, depending on how he wants to do it. One way or the other, lots to get into in the final hour of the show tonight. To include Minneapolis, Minnesota, I'm curious your thoughts on that. I'm going to give you some thoughts on EBT and the decision on the part of the governor to not accept $84 million in fake money. And that's exactly what it is. It's fake money. More on that coming up. Will we or will we not buy? Now we're talking about buying Greenland? Is that what we're doing? We're going to buy Greenland? Really?
What's the rate?
They got a lot of rare earth mineral. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
what do you think the price on Greenland is?
Whatever. $1 trillion, something like that.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but we got it.
I mean, you're buying a country.
Yeah, it's it's not a country. It's a part of Denmark. It's an island.
Would Denmark be okay with us buying Greenland?
Probably not. Well, I guess they would have to be okay. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I've not done the due diligence to know exactly what that dynamic's like. In other words, I don't know what relationship Greenland. I mean, they're a province or something or another of Denmark. I think. I think that's right. Greenland's just an island.
What if Greenland wanted to join the U.S.? Would we have to pay still?
You like the people?
Yeah.
Didn't you say there's only like 58,000 people in Greenland? 56,000 people in Greenland.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of people.
No.
You feel like you could poll them and just say, hey, what do you guys want to do? Come on over. We'd love to have you. I think we have a military base on Greenland, if I'm not mistaken.
It's cold up there.
It is very cold. It's not very green. A lot of ice. A lot of ice going on, and a lot of rare earth minerals underneath that ice, which is one of the reasons.
What are rare earth minerals? Like, what does that entail?
Let's see. I'll give you a list. Rare earth minerals like nickel is a rare earth mineral. I think that's right. Copper is. I don't think copper's a rare earth mineral. Rare,
like diamonds,
earth minerals. Let's see. Let me get a list. Oh, a group of 17 separate elements. Okay, I got them. A group of 7. I was about to show my ignorance of this. It's a great thing you just brought up. I've talked about rare earth minerals all my life. I don't think I've ever seen a list of them. Rare earth minerals are a group of 17 elements, including scandium and other various minerals. The main economic sources are bastnasite, monazite, lateric clays. The minerals are responsible for about 95% of rare earths in use.
What do they do?
What are the rare earth minerals? Specifically, they're a highly useful category of critical minerals that are used to make magnets, essential for automobiles, electronic, and defense industry. The rare earth metals are a family of 17 elements consisting of rare earths. Which country has the most? You want to know who has the most?
Venezuela?
China.
I guess.
Mm-hmm. China. with estimates of around 44 million metric tons. That doesn't feel like rare. That doesn't feel very rare.
Where does the U.S. of A rank?
China has 44 million metric tons. Brazil, 21 million. Vietnam, 19%. United States has 45,000. Or wait, let me say 1.9 million tons.
That's a lot.
But
it's not as much.
That's not 44 million metric tons.
Yeah. Do the conversion there.
No, thank you. I'm out on that. So they do have rare earths. And once again, I couldn't have told you a rare earth, apparently, if I was hit on the head about it. Jeff is in Indiana, wants to talk about the Minnesota situation. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, Matt. Can't wait till you get off work and come out here and join me in this Nashville traffic fun.
Oh boy. What's going on in traffic?
Same thing as always. It's not moving very fast.
Oh, I bet it's awful.
Well, some try to move real fast, and then they cause the wreck, and then you know how that goes.
Oh, good Lord. I'm looking at all the red. That doesn't seem nice. You must be on 24. A lot of red on 24, Ken.
Right now, I'm entering the split into Nashville, heading north. That's a fun place to be.
What do you think about the situation in Minnesota?
Minnesota. When are we going to declare the Democrats a terroristic group? Is what I'm kind of wondering. They've shown themselves, through all these rhetoric of all these elected officials sitting there, basically causing these people to be out there, Darwining themselves, because they're not smart enough to survive, I guess, in the real world. At what point do you say, your rhetoric has caused this? And the blood is on Tampon Tim's hands mostly, because of all the rhetoric they do, and the mayor of Minneapolis is just I don't know what you would call him. He's just an idiot, and I guess that's what you elect when you have your constituents are idiots, I guess, because apparently everybody up there has no clue what's going on, as far as, ICE raids and stuff like that. They think they can just go out there and tell these cops, hey, you're going to get out of here, and we don't want you here. And
yeah, when did it become, common knowledge amongst knuckle-headed liberals that you're allowed to just bust up in the street and get in front of ICE agents and get in front of vehicles, and there's nothing that they're going to do to you about it? I mean, I think, and I'm going to play the clip here in just a moment, Jeff, for the television audience and for the listening audience. Scott Jennings, I don't know if you've heard the clip from him last night. He is dead on when it comes to his analysis on this, that, you don't, if I don't like my taxes, and he'll say this in a moment, if I don't like how much I'm paying in taxes, that doesn't give me the right to drive my car into the U.S. Treasury.
Well, these people have been accustomed to breaking the law and doing these things. The George Floyd riots, how many people got arrested off of that? And they's burning the place down and stuff, so they're figured they can just do the same thing again and under Trump, I guess. But that's not working out too good.
Well, this is what happens when, sadly, the mainstream media leads public opinion. And thank you, Jeff, for the call. Be safe out there. Mainstream media leads public opinion by creating two separate rules of the road. There's one set of rules for conservatives or libertarians. There's another set of rules for liberals or anarchists. Antifa has a different set of rules than conservative organizations like a Tea Party group. Not that I believe a Tea Party group would want to violate the law in any way, but, they allowed these things to go on in Portland, Oregon. They allowed them to go on in Seattle, Washington. They allowed them to happen in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Ferguson, Missouri, and many other places beyond. And now we have 20-somethings, part of the political leftist movement, that think that it is their God-given right to protest in a way that burns things to the ground, destroys private property, and holds up public thoroughfares, and it's just not true. And indirectly, the MSM, the mainstream media, they have blood on their hands as a result. Liberal activist politicians have blood on their hands as a result. Representative Afton Bain is partially responsible for this. Yes, I said it, and I mean it. Afton Bain is indirectly partially responsible for the death of Renee Good. Because Afton Bain was out there last summer running around talking about bullying ICE and stopping them from doing their jobs and posting it on Instagram. She's an elected official. You've got, who was it? The lieutenant governor of Minnesota, who said that it's time for activists to put their bodies on the line. What does she mean by that? Listen and watch. You got me up there? Listen and watch as Scott Jennings is exactly right. He is such a gem. He's the only reason to watch #NeverCNN. Don't watch. I'll do it so you don't have to, and I'll present these types of clips for you.
But it strikes me that we are undergoing an epidemic of political vigilantism right now. Why are people showing up in vehicles, in convoys, not just in Minneapolis, but all over the country in an effort to obstruct lawful federal law enforcement activities? This is not an isolated incident. We have had hundreds of car rammings against ICE agents all over the country. According to DHS, this lady in this car today, along with other vehicles, had been tracking ICE agents around. Why are people believing that they can drive their car into a federal law enforcement situation and that is an appropriate thing to do? I understand they don't like the fact that these agents are enforcing existing immigration law, but that's not how we change laws in this country. If you don't like a law, you talk to the politicians. You don't drive your car into the middle of a building or a law enforcement situation that's being occupied by the people who are simply there to enforce the law. If I don't like how much the IRS is charging me in taxes, I don't drive my car into the Treasury Department and try to run somebody over. I call my congressman. Political vigilantism is being encouraged by Democratic officials like the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota, Peggy Flanagan, who earlier this year told people to, quote, put your bodies on the line, and Tim Walz calling these guys Gestapo all year. What do you think happens when you radicalize a base of people?
He's exactly right. And Scott Jennings, thank you for saying it on this leftist garbage network. What do you think will happen? Yes, hold your signs. Yes, lobby your congressman. Yes, say, well, you know, you're well within your right to protest. You're well within the right to have your opinion. But currently the laws are on the books that if you are found to be in the United States of America illegally, that Immigration and Customs Enforcement or other law enforcement agencies can detain you and eventually deport you. You know, I like to say it this way. It's in the form of a question. For those of you who think I'm being hard-hearted about it, or you think Donald Trump's being hard-hearted about it, or hard-headed about it, should we have rules about who comes into the United States? Should we? Should there be rules? Let's not talk about what the rules should be. That's maybe a more complex subject. I'm just asking basically, do you believe we should have rules? And if you believe we should have rules, then answer me this. What do you do to the people who break them? Do you just let them? We have currently millions of people in the United States of America that broke the rules. They broke the rules. We don't have to get into the particulars as to how or why or when, or they broke the rules. If you have rules, what do you do to the people who break them? Do you just let them? Because if you just let them, you may as well throw the damn rule book out of the window because it doesn't matter anymore. Of course, you have to have punishment for those who break the rules. And in order to determine who's who, our Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents, they are going into the community. They didn't make the rules. They had nothing to do with making the rules. Lawmakers made the rules. Individuals who were democratically elected to represent their constituencies went to Washington, D.C. and made the rules. Bill Clinton was president of the United States of America when we revamped our immigration policy in 1996. And before that, and someone brought up Ronald Reagan earlier because I was on my rant and I was talking about all of these presidents that decided not to enforce immigration law in the manner in which they could have prior to Trump. And I got back to George H.W. Bush, and I didn't get to Reagan. And somebody said, why aren't you bringing up Ronald Reagan? Ronald Reagan made the mistake. He recognized an issue. He recognized the problem. He recognized that we had far too many illegal aliens in the United States of America. And he came up with a compromise in a democratically controlled House of Representatives that if you give me I-9 forms, which we did not have previous to Ronald Reagan and Simpson Mazzoli, you give me I-9 forms, you give me a border security bill funded, and I'll grant amnesty to roughly 3.5 million illegal aliens. So those already here will be granted some form of permanent status, not necessarily citizenship, but this is in 1986, I want to say. It's called Simpson-Mazzoli Act. And Ronald Reagan agreed to it. And the Democrats agreed to it. And the Democrats promised that if Reagan would amnestize 3.5 million illegal aliens, which eventually Reagan agreed to do, that they would give I-9 forms, meaning every employer over a certain amount would have to have I-9 forms filled out by their prospective employees, by which they would show that they were legally present in the United States of America, and they would have to show their identification. Everyone who gets a job nowadays has to present their Social Security card or their worker visa or their driver's license and whatnot. You have to prove that you're here legally in the United States of America. I-9 forms have now largely been replaced by the E-Verify program, and I would suggest that we need to require E-Verify for every employer in the United States of America, not just over a certain amount, but that's an aside. So Ronald Reagan gave amnesty to 3.5 million illegals for I-9, basically for I-9s and for border security. And the Democrats promised they were super duper serious that they would fund border security. And guess what? They never did. They lied. They lied to Reagan, and a lie is something that you say that you know not to be true at the time that you say it. And Tip O'Neill and the rest of the Democrats in the House of Representatives knew damn well they had no interest in funding border security, and they never did. They never did. And so we still had a flood of illegal aliens coming across the southern border from the 1980s into the 1990s and beyond. There was another bite of that apple in 1996 when our new immigration policies were revamped and signed by President Bill Clinton. The rules are what the rules are. And now a lot of liberals are running around blaming Donald Trump for enforcing the rules that have been on the books for 30 years. For 30 years. Danny, I'll get to you momentarily. Hang in there. Michelle, you too. Not necessarily in that order. Disagreement goes to the front of the line. 615-737-9986. It's The Murphy Show. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. Let's talk about the foundation of your home. You know, I am thankful that the foundation of my new home is A-OK, and I know that thanks to our good friends at USS and others. Thank you for those of you that have called USS when you've noticed issues. They don't wish this on anyone, but sadly in Tennessee, it happens to a lot of homeowners where your house doesn't settle properly, and you come out of this with foundation issues. Repairs needed. And get to it early because that can save you a tremendous amount of money. If you do have some sort of foundation repair or waterproofing need, friends, USS is the company that I recommend and your go-to source for all solutions when it comes to foundation, concrete leveling, and waterproofing. USS stands for United Structural Systems. They will help that structure that is your home. They will repair it, and they will give you peace of mind today. They guarantee their best at USS, and they've been around since 1994. That's a long time. They've been doing this the right way for 32 years. 615-488-7855, 488-7855, or online at USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. All right, friends. So you need to protect those things that protect you and your loved ones and your property. I'm talking about your Second Amendment rights and the guns that you keep to protect yourself. Well, do you have a safe? A gun safe is so necessary, particularly if you have youngsters around. But for all of us, we need a safe. And at Nashville Safe House, they've got the right one for you. How do I know that? Because I don't know you. I know that because they have over 200 safes on their showroom floor. That's a lot of safes. You go in and you'll see them. You walk into the lobby, you'll say, hey to Jill. She's the straw that stirs the drink. She truly does run the show. Mark, he gets a lot of the attention, though. Mark will be there. Odds are you'll see Donald Trump. Trump's always there in the lobby. The Matt Murphy special safe is right there in the lobby as well. Then you go into the showroom and you'll see it. And don't you fret, because if you don't find the exact right one for you, they have over 400 more in their warehouse. They have more safes than you could possibly imagine. They have the right one for you, folks. Price points for everybody, fire ratings for everybody. Go to Nashville Safe House today to see exactly what we're talking about, whether it's Browning or Fort Knox or Superior or Rhino. They've got all the brand names that you know and you love, and they've got one for you. Gun safes are sales tax free at Nashville Safe House. Nashville Safe House, right across the street from City Cemetery on 4th Avenue South. Stop by or online, NashvilleSafeHouse.com.
Two people wounded in a shooting involving federal law enforcement officers in the Pacific Northwest. I'll tell you about this and more coming up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Murphy and you, as promised, I'll get to your calls. 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. We're primarily discussing the situation that went down in Minneapolis, Minnesota. There have also reports of 2 individuals shot by feds in Portland, Oregon. Lawlessness on the streets. We're not putting up with it, folks. There are only so many things you can do in terms of protest, and there are certain things you cannot do in terms of protest, but it's a definition of FAFO. Danny is next. Hey, Danny, thank you for the call.
Evening, sir. I don't expect this to be adopted or anybody to pursue it, but I would think that most often depend on jurisdiction during the commission of a crime. Say there's 2 individuals involved in the crime, and if someone dies as a result of that crime, and only one of the perpetrators did it, they're both guilty of the death and can be charged as such. Meaning that, like, everybody that was involved that was against law enforcement should be charged with the murder, whether or not that law enforcement officer gets self-defense or not. Everybody that was involved in breaking the law and obstructing justice should be charged with the murder of that lady because they were all involved in breaking the law.
You mean the individuals that were protesting along with her in that caravan?
Exactly. It would be a good deterrent for everybody just to slow down and think twice and not be getting so crazy. Now, I know that won't happen, but I think legally they could be applied, and I think it would be a good deterrent if everyone involved gets charged. The other thing is...
Charged with something, maybe not murder, but charged with something.
They could be charged with murder, though, under the law, and depend on jurisdictional law and stuff. But the other point I was going to make is a lot of these people, I don't know the end goal, but there's, for sake of better terms, I do a lot of reading and stuff, higher-ups that we're not aware of are trying to create turmoil in this country for whatever their end goal is. And they're getting people emotionally charged so we all turn on each other. And we're playing the fools doing all this stuff. And they're going to come in, if they win and get their goals met, they'll take over. And we're just a bunch of fools and we're worthless for doing this emotionally charged stuff. People don't think. I hope that makes some sense.
No, it does. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Now I don't
want to point fingers or go into details. That's all.
Yeah. Well, on the first point, Danny, I would say that I would like to see a heavier hand with regard to allowances for these people to, quote unquote, flex their muscles. Remember when it was the mayor of Baltimore, I forget what her name was, who said that we have to be flexible and what did she say when her city, this was during the Summer of Love in 2020, that we need to allow people to give them the ability to burn or the flexibility to destroy or something along those lines. I'm not saying it exactly right, but I mean, she basically said, look, these folks need to burn off some steam, so we need to let them burn the city to the ground. And you've got Tim Walz, who is useless, begging Minnesotans not to do the same thing, burning Minneapolis to the ground or burning his state to the ground. In the meantime, he's in the midst of this awful Somalian fraud scandal that has defrauded the American public out of hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. It is billions of dollars. Michelle, I'll get to you in just a moment. I got to go to news right now. I appreciate your patience, but we're doing that right after this. Here comes the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now, 2 people are injured in a shooting that involves federal law enforcement officers in Portland, Oregon. Fox News reporting the FBI says it happened around 2:15 p.m. local time this afternoon and involved Customs and Border Patrol agents. The Bureau is leading the investigation, calls it active and ongoing. No word yet on the victims, conditions, or what led up to the shooting. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, they're bracing for protests. Governor Tim Walz authorizing the National Guard to support Minneapolis police officers who will be tasked with keeping the peace during protests tonight over the deadly ICE shooting. And the New York Post says it has obtained exclusive information about the woman who was killed. The Post is reporting 37-year-old Renee Good was active in an anti-ICE group called ICE Watch, which trains members to resist immigration raids. She reportedly received training on how to respond to ICE presence and was allegedly deeply engaged in social justice activism through her child's charter school. Money News, Michelle Franzen.
Major market indexes mixed in Thursday trading. The Dow was up 270 points at close. The S&P 500 unchanged at the end of trading, and the Nasdaq fell 104. Shares of weapon and military equipment manufacturers were up on President Trump's announcement that he wants to increase defense spending to $1.5 trillion. China's Commerce Ministry says it will investigate Meta's acquisition of artificial intelligence startup Manus. The Facebook parent company announced last week it was buying Manus, a Singaporean-based company with Chinese roots, in a bid to expand its AI offerings across its platforms. A ministry spokesperson told reporters they will see if the acquisition is consistent with Chinese laws and regulations. The IRS says it will start accepting 2025 tax returns on January 26th as the agency faces the loss of tens of thousands of workers through layoffs and buyouts.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right now we're starting to loosen up a little bit going home eastbound 40. Still some brake tapping there to get to the eastern split. Then it's coming to a complete stop there before you get to I-440. We've got a crash in Murfreesboro. It is blocking the left lane of 24 eastbound at 840. I'm Ken Weaver.
You do not have to play by Washington, D.C.'s rules when it comes to your health insurance coverage. Yes, there's been movement on these government subsidies for premiums today in the House of Representatives, but don't expect it to get past the Senate. And I wouldn't wait on the government to help you out on this. You need to call Shane Ring and get some real relief through Cover Nash. Shane has every available plan at his fingertips. He does not work for an insurance company. He works for you. You are his customer. And with that in mind, do not forget that open enrollment is still possible for you. That's right. You can get in on the February 1st deadline by calling Shane Ring today, but you've got to do it in the next week, because if not, it might be over for you for the foreseeable, although Shane can always assist you in finding a way to get you better coverage, to get your premiums down to where you need them to be, and to prevent those sky-high deductibles. Shane Ring and Cover Nash, they're just the best in the business. Call Shane today. I know I did. If you're self-employed, uninsured, or just tired of paying too much, call 615-465-0023, 465-0023, or online at CoverNash.com. That's CoverNash.com. Real health coverage on your terms, not the government's. I hate that we lost Michelle. Michelle, call us back. 615-737-9986. I was going right to you. I feel bad for that. It's 21 until 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If I have an opportunity, I'll give you some thoughts on summer food programs in the state of Tennessee. A lot of folks are wanting to wag their fingers at the governor. The governor recognizes that there are better programs available right here in the state that doesn't cost the state some $5 million of taxpayer money. And oh, by the way, that $84 million that we would be getting from the federal government, that is free money, free money, free money, free money, doesn't really exist. It's fake money. It is money added to our $40 trillion debt. Mary is next. Or no, is that Marv? Who am I talking to?
Yes, hello, this is Marv.
Hey, Marv, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for calling.
It's more important than ever that we got to support these ICE agents. They're doing very important work for us. And I don't understand. Everyone is talking about these videos, watching it from this angle or that angle. I'll be honest, I haven't even watched the videos. All I needed was, I read President Trump's Truth Social posting that said that the ICE agent was run over, he was almost killed, and he had to be hospitalized. I mean, that's all you need to know. Who needs to analyze that video?
I looked at the video. I haven't seen his. I haven't seen Trump's Truth Social on it.
Yeah, he said the ICE agent was run over. He almost died, and he had to be hospitalized. I mean, that must have been really gruesome when you saw it.
Oh, yeah, it was grotesque.
Wow. I'm surprised they allowed that up on the web. I can't believe that happened.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this, Marv. Do you recognize that just outside of this individual situation where, I mean, you suggest that you've not seen the videos, so I don't believe that you can speak about it intelligently. But do you believe that individuals can use automobiles as deadly weapons?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Yeah. Do you believe that
you run someone over and they almost
No, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about generally speaking. You haven't seen the video, you don't know what happened, so I don't want you to come off as ignorant. So we're not talking about that.
But I heard what President Trump I
haven't seen what see I can't talk about that because I haven't seen the quote, and I don't believe I don't trust that I don't trust you. Because you've already come at this telephone call dishonestly, and I recognize I could sniff it out like a fart in a car. You're being dishonest, and that's fine. If you want to have a reasonable conversation about our differences of opinion, I'm willing to do that. But let's come at it honestly.
Well, are you saying President Trump was lying in that post?
I'm saying you're lying in your call, Marv. We're talking about you.
Oh, what did I lie about?
You're saying you haven't seen the videos. I think you're a liar.
I haven't seen it.
You've not seen any of the videos, Marv.
I don't spend a lot of time on the web. I'm a very busy person.
You've not seen any of the videos. Tell me the truth, Marv.
I haven't because
You've not seen. Well, then we can't. Then you and I can't have a reasonable conversation about that individual situation, can we?
Well, I don't get it. Are you saying that President Trump is exaggerating or not telling the truth?
I'm not talking about President Trump. I'm talking about what happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
But I am. You're being very disloyal to President Trump.
I am loyal to President Trump as my president of the United States. I do not suggest that President Trump is right all of the time.
So, okay, well, was he not right with what he posted?
I don't know. I've not read what he posted. I went and did my own research, and I used the evidence presented in. Excuse me. I am telling the truth. I've not seen his post.
It's on Truth Social, so it must be true.
I don't go to Truth Social on a daily basis, Marv.
Well, President Trump never lies. He never lies, and he never exaggerates. He's the most honest president we've ever had. So if he says that the ICE agent was almost run over, almost killed and hospitalized, but I haven't read, how is he in the hospital? I mean, I guess he's probably going to be in the hospital for a while.
Yeah, you want me to do your homework for you, or what, Marv? You seem like a reasonably intelligent fellow. I feel like you could do this yourself, or you could just continue to be a smarmy ass on the radio. I mean, you could do that too.
Well, stupid shows like yours deserve calls like this.
No, I mean, I'm glad that you listen, Marv. I appreciate your participation in this program. I wish you would call. I wish you would call every day.
I'm not one of your 4 listeners. I'm sorry.
Oh, we got a lot more than 4, Marv.
Okay, 6.
Yeah. You spend your time on hold for. I mean, I love it, buddy. I love it. You can't. You're obsessed. It's okay, man. It's all good.
Do you have millions of listeners, but none of them own phones, or they have phones? But
I do not. Marv. I do not have millions of listeners.
Oh, you don't? I'm shocked.
I do not. I have more than 4. I'm more than 4, less than millions.
So with all this said now, do you have an issue with President Trump sending out a post like he did?
I would have to see the post, Marv.
I just told you what it said.
I don't believe you, Marv. You came at the entire premise of your call was a lie, so you expect me to believe you now?
You're better than the other clowns that I call who all take the bait.
No, I am better than the other clowns that you call. You're right about that. And I also entertain you a little bit more than most. You are not accustomed to getting to this point in the call, Marv, because people hang up on you. I understand how seminar callers go.
Well, most of the MAGA radio clown hosts, they don't like being embarrassed, and they only want people telling them what they want to hear. Mm-hmm. So yes, they do often hang up.
Why don't you tell me what you believe, Marv?
What I believe?
Yeah.
I think it's open to interpretation. I think the authorities will figure it out. But I think it's pathetic.
What is open to interpretation? What is open to interpretation? The videos?
Yes.
The ones that you say that you haven't seen?
I'm sorry. I lied. I did see them.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Marv. 615-737-9986. That's all I wanted to hear. I don't really like liars, Marv, so try again tomorrow and maybe we'll talk again then. Hello, Keith.
Hey, buddy, it's Keith at Contours down in Franklin. How are you?
What is up, brother, man? I was so busy I didn't text you today. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. Hey, I was listening to you, and I'm one of your more than 6 listeners, by the way.
You and me and Marv and Jackson, we make 4, I guess. So.
I could probably drum up a couple more if you want. So, hey, I love your opinion and love talking to you. And so I was listening a little earlier talking about this whole Minneapolis thing, and I got a question for you. I guess what bugs the heck out of me is that every time you listen to Tim Walz and some of these guys, they're talking about, basically, create havoc, go out and break the law and create chaos and all that kind of stuff. It's defiance. And I get that. Everybody's upset and this, that, and the other. But, if you're in the military and you've got an order and you disobey it, bad things happen. So my question is Tim Walz and some of these guys that are leading all of this chaos, at some point in time, is that not treason? And maybe one of these days somebody needs to make an example of some of these guys to say, hey, we got the law out there that we're all supposed to obey. When are you guys going to uphold it? And like I said, go after some of these guys and make an example out of them, because this chaos has got to stop.
Well, I agree, and I do think that Tim Walz has a very big problem on his hands, because there are suggestions, and we've seen some of the evidence that he was aware of the fraud that was going on in his state, and he allowed it to continue. And I think Tim Walz, I don't pretend to know what's in the guy's heart. I mean, I think he's a moron. I wouldn't suggest that he's happy that this situation happened, but I certainly think it's convenient that he's going to use it to try to deflect attention away from what I think could truly get him removed from office, if not jailed on fraud charges. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if Tim Walz is going to be put in jail, Tim Walz is going to be put in jail because he had knowledge of the fraudulent activity that was going on in his state, and he allowed that federal money and even state money to be routed to those Somalian quote-unquote daycare centers anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on all of that, but to me it's a bigger issue, which is that you guys, there's people out there who are elected leaders, whether in Minnesota or in the Northwest or anywhere else, that are going out basically telling, their constituents to go out and break the law and raise chaos and all that kind of stuff and hurt people. And I guess I have a problem with that. And at some point in time, it's like, you may not like a law. I mean, this was your point. You may not like something, so do something about it. And that's a whole different bailiwick, talking about, I can look at drugs as an example and go, okay, well, we've had drug laws for hundreds of years, and, a lot of people don't enforce them. Immigration is the same way. So I guess my kind of where I come from is, if these guys are going to continue to go on and say basically disobey the law and create havoc, I mean, at some point in time, you got to go after them and say, you can't do that.
They're very one thing they're very slick with their language, right? And what they will argue is, if I take them to court and suggest that they've crossed the line, and I'm in the free speech business, Keith, so I believe that the standard should be pretty high, that we are creating a real and present danger, or we are inciting riots or violence amongst the people. Now, I think that they've gotten to the point where they've reached that standard in my mind. I think they know very well what they're doing. But what they will argue in a court of law is, no, we didn't say that. We said this, and we meant this, and this was our message. And the First Amendment gives us this right. And so I understand exactly what you're saying. They are continuing to push the boundaries because they don't like the laws, and they don't have the votes to change them, and they know it.
Oh, right. So it's kind of like a soldier, disobeying an order. And at some point in time, somebody's got to be held accountable for it. So I guess that's all.
I know. I love it. And thank you, Keith, for the telephone call. And I think you're exactly right. The standard should be very high. I believe in free speech. I'm in the free speech business. So I don't think you can simply say, well, Matt Murphy was saying things that got people's emotions so inflamed that they made the decision to do these things. But what Walz is saying, and Keith is exactly right, and I don't have the clips right in front of me, but I can pull them, and his lieutenant governor said as much. I mean, we heard Scott Jennings repeat the line from, you need to lay your bodies on the line. Well, what are you talking about, laying your bodies on the line? Well, you're telling people that they're allowed to get into the streets and to impede ICE officers? I mean, the mayor of Minneapolis is saying, bleep ICE, get the bleep out of our city and whatnot. I mean, these are the types of things, as we started the show, we were discussing this. They're doing this intentionally for the purpose of inflaming the passions of individuals that don't know any better. And sadly, a woman got killed as a result yesterday. And Keith's point, to his point, is they're not going to stop until someone makes them. And sadly, that's a very tricky wicket, because they know how to use the language in a way where they can hold up their hands and claim plausible deniability. I don't pretend to have all of the answers, but I think it's a dang good question that merits further discussion. 52 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The good old Glock store. Ladies and gentlemen, for years you've been hearing me talk about the Glock store and all of the Glocks that they have in stock. I mean, when you call yourself the Glock store, you're going to have pretty much every Glock, every stock Glock in stock, and you're going to have customized versions of those Glocks as well. Well, now we've got the latest Gen 6, the ones with the brand new optics, the RFT 6 texturing, or the RTF, I should say, 6 texturing, the enlarged beaver tail, flat face trigger, the trigger guard undercut, integrated thumb rest, the gas pedal, if you will. The Gen 6 Glocks are incredibly refined. They are the most refined Glocks ever produced. And as you might expect, the Glock store is all over it. They received their first shipment of the 17s, the 19s, and the 45s, and they were gone before they got here because Glock store allows you to pre-order. Well, you can pre-order your new Glock, and when you get your hands on one, as a thank you for your pre-order, if you mention my name, Matt Murphy, when you order, you'll get an extra magazine when you pick up your new Gen 6 Glock. How about that? I mean, just free to you, complimentary thank you to the Glock store and Matt Murphy show. So what you do, you get you down on the list, you check out the Gen 6 Glocks in the rental department. If you need to shoot it, go ahead and go to the Shoot 270 rooms and test drive that sucker. Pre-order that thing. Tell them you heard about them on the show, and your new Glock comes in. They'll throw in an extra magazine. A limited time offer, and only from the Glock store, minutes away from the airport. Worth the drive from anywhere.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
Thanks again to Marv for listening and calling in. You've inspired all of my listeners on the Super Text line to, count up. Hey, I'm number 5. Hey, I'm number 6. Hey, I'm number 7. Dang, Marv, we might get to 1 million after all. You never know. I mentioned the other day, and it has come to fruition, that Robin Smith, I hope that she gets pardoned. I disagreed with the pardoning of Glenn Cassida or Cade Cothran. By the way, Marv, if you're still listening, there's an example of how I disagreed with our president of the United States of America. Donald Trump pardoned these two scumbags that needed to be in jail. And there you go. Now, I say that they're scumbags. That's harsh language, isn't it? Well, when you're using your position of authority against the taxpaying citizens of the state of Tennessee, I tend to take exception with that. Robin Smith turned evidence against them. She did wrong, admitted that she did wrong, was willing to pay a penalty for it, and was set to go to jail and will not go to jail. I don't know if you guys recall that or not. In the meantime, Governor Bill Lee has declined to seek $84 million in fake money for children at risk for hunger. We will perhaps delve into this a little more deeply tomorrow, but I agree with the decision to forego the approximately $84 million of fake money from the federal government because it's not real money. It's borrowed money against the backs of your children and your grandchildren. We don't need to be doing that. More on that tomorrow. It's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday edition then on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Until then, have a great evening, folks. Hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.